What's going on, everyone? It's Nick Atkin here and John Yonko over there. We are here to recap and break down UFC 260. It's the post-fight podcast, SCMP MMA. Thank you for joining us. John, just what a crazy show. You did a show with James Lynch. So you've seen all the action. You've already given your take, but I'm just going to ask you, Francis Ngannou, man, what an incredible performance that was to win the heavyweight title.
It was definitely a performance of a lifetime for him. Once he defended that single leg and sprawled out and turned the corner and blasted Stipe, I felt like his confidence went from 100 to 1,000. And then it just looked like it was just a matter of time before he hit Stipe with that fatal shot, man. And Ganu, he doesn't get enough credit for the chin he has, right? We're always focused on his power and how hard he hits and how he knocks out everybody so quickly. But really, when he gets cracked, he still marches forward, man. He's done a great job. Even in the final exchange, Ngannou cracked Stipe. Stipe kind of went down, was stepping backwards, and then when he was stepping backwards, he came in with that counter and rocked Francis, and then after that, Francis just connected with that left hook. It was almost, I thought it was a jab at first, but then I watched the replay and I was like, oh, it's a short left hook, and Stipe was out instantly. It's not like he was like dazed; he was out, like his leg folded backwards. That kind of looked nasty too. But yeah, Francis, incredible performance, and he's got a lot of options. And also, this is who the UFC probably wanted to win. You know what I mean? This is the fight that they want. They want the big, bad, scary knockout artist in Francis Ngannou versus Jon Jones, one of the greatest of all time. It's perfect for them.
Leon, glad you can join us. How are you?
Good. How are you
It's
guys?
2 p.m. here. Yeah, okay. I told John I just ate a load of spicy sauce. I'm sweating buckets over here, even with the aircon on. So apologies, everyone. But yeah, let's talk about that finish then. Leon did. I don't want to dog Francis at all, but that final hammer fist was just. Oh, he didn't need to do that, did he? The way Stipe fell, I think it was clear he was already out like a light.
Yeah, it's hard to fight. I don't think you can leave any doubt there, can you? I mean, look at Sean O'Malley in his first round. Maybe he watched that and thought, I'm not taking any chances.
Yeah, that's fair enough. As I said, don't want to criticize Francis for it.
And it was a
John,
split
is that
second.
the
There wasn't, sometimes there's a split second, and you think in that split second, that fighter's had a chance to think he's out, but it was pretty instant.
yeah? And his instincts just took over, didn't they, John? I think
Yeah.
in that situation, you can't criticize too much. And also, just he talked about it afterwards, the incredible journey he's been on. Just 10 years, I think it was. He was living homeless in Paris and things like that. Just a really great story aside from all of that, isn't it, with Francis?
Yeah, it is. It's an incredible story, man. A story that you can make a movie out of. You can make a
Yeah.
Netflix drama series out of his life. You know what I mean? And it's not. And he's like not even. He's at the middle of it right now. You know what I mean? He's accomplished the highest reach of the sport, and in such a short period of time. But when you're gifted like him, man, if you don't make it to that level, it's almost like wasted talent. But he didn't waste that talent, and he's just getting better too, which is scarier. Like he's improving. And you saw his wrestling improve. You saw his fight IQ improve in this fight, where he would like kind of change levels and throw punches instead of just like winging punches, standing straight up. Man, Eric Nixon, you got to give him a lot of credit. His head coach at Extreme Couture, man, he's done a wonderful job.
And Jon Jones, it didn't take him long to start tweeting about it, did he? Let's try and bring him up on screen. I don't know. I've seen all of them. I saw the first two, but looks like that's going to happen, guys, doesn't it?
Yeah, where is he? What's he doing?
Let's get these tweets on screen. If you're Jon Jones, do you want that fight though? Because as you said, John, there, calm, relaxed, patient Francis Ngannou is probably the scariest guy on the planet now. Because Stipe did give a roadmap, didn't he, in that first fight of how you can beat him, but he had no answer this time. And how does Jon Jones beat Francis? Can you see Jon Jones having enough to avoid the fate that befell Stipe today?
Yeah, of course. Jon Jones. One thing that we know about Jon Jones is that he's one of the most cerebral fighters in the sport ever, and he's shown that. You know, what I mean, look at the level of competition he has beaten, and at such a young age. Yeah, so I think that Jon Jones has passed to victory, but man, we just seen Francis knock out probably the greatest heavyweight of all time, and making the adjustments that he needs. I think this is another level of Francis Ngannou, and even with John Jones is going to have a lot of problems, especially when he gets cracked with that heavyweight semi truck power. You know what I mean? It's really crazy what he can do in that ring. But yeah, John Jones, if I was going to pick a favorite in that fight, I'd take John Jones just because of what he has accomplished already, but that's just me. What do you think, Leon?
I think the interesting thing is, obviously, a lot of the talk is John Jones moving up from light heavyweight. I think that's going to be made too much of, because he's going to weigh a lot more than Stipe did. Stipe weighed at least 30 pounds less than Francis did, which you're already, if you're a reasonable size heavyweight, you're already against the odds in a way fighting Francis because he's just such a beast. Stipe was a tiny, what did he weigh in, 236?
That's
not a lot for a heavyweight. That's almost borderline being able to get down to light heavyweight with a tough cut. So I don't know how much John Jones was usually weighing in his light heavyweight bouts, probably a little bit less than that. But John Jones was definitely weighing more than that, which is obviously going to, and he's got the more of a wrestling pedigree. So it's going to be a fascinating one. And Francis, like I said, he's only going to get better between now and that John Jones fight. And how well will John Jones fight with all this extra added weight? That's another big question, because he's gone the opposite way to Izzy, and he's just putting on so much muscle and mass.
It seems to be he's tweeting, yeah, he wants the fight, but I want some money for this fight. So surely the UFC won't lowball him. But a lot of people are saying, oh, now you're making an excuse why you don't want this fight. I think Dana White joked, I think John Jones will go down to 185 after that.
The key is here, how much more is he asking? If he's asking for a ridiculous amount, this is where Dana has been truthful in the past. If a fighter names a silly amount for a fight, it's because he doesn't want it. If John Jones says a reasonable amount more, then fair enough. He's arguably the GOAT. He's moving up. He's fighting the heaviest, the scariest guy on the planet. He deserves more money. So it depends how much more money does John Jones want. And I think unless we know that, we're only guessing if he's really, really wants that fight or not. So I think he does. He certainly wants to move up. He's not putting on all this weight for nothing. He's not going to go back down to light heavyweight now. He's committed to heavyweight and to stay there, not just to go up, win the belt. He's committed. So I don't think he's scared, but I still want to know how much more money he does want and thinks he deserves. And we were talking about before, everyone deserves more money.
When you look at John Jones, he doesn't have the best relationship with Dana White, right? So you would figure if John Jones said something that Dana White did not like, Dana White's going to, he's going to attack back with something, right? It's a negotiation ploy for both these guys. These guys, there's a reason why they don't like each other, because they can't agree on anything in the negotiation room, because that's just them. They're two alpha males, going head to head. But yeah, I don't think John Jones is scared at all. If people are saying that he's scared because he wants more money, that's ridiculous. That's the craziest thing in the world. Because if Stipe would have won the fight, he would have probably said the same thing. What else changes for John Jones? Nothing. He gained all the weight. He's not going to go back to 205, and he's going to plan on fighting at heavyweight for the rest of his career. You could tell. So let's get a deal done. Let's put it in front of a crowd and see what happens, because Francis is getting a chance at greatness. I think anybody that fights John Jones and eventually beats him becomes an instant, especially if Stipe would have won, if he went on and beat John Jones, he would have been the greatest fighter of all time. I think he would surpass John Jones, but he lost that opportunity. Now Francis gets it. Let's get it on.
Daniel says, almost guarantee Bones demands too much, knowing he doesn't want the fight, and says the UFC didn't want to meet my demands. Alan Bones Jones, what's up, Alan? He says, in my opinion, it should be John Jones versus Stipe title eliminator, and Francis versus Derek Lewis 2 for the heavyweight championship. Do we like those fights, guys?
Go ahead, Leon. You can start.
So can you get them up again, the matchup?
Yep. Sorry, sir. So he's saying, why don't we do Francis against Derek Lewis again, even though that first fight was really, really weird and terrible. And then Jones versus Stipe title eliminator. I mean, Stipe for me probably got to take some time off, and especially after a knockout like that. But how long will John Jones want to wait around?
I think on paper, I love both of them matchups, and for me, they make more sense. But then, Nick, you make a good point. Stipe can't come back quickly. You've seen before, like Daniel Cormier said himself, the reason he felt he knocked out Stipe was because Stipe's chin hadn't recovered from fighting Francis Ngannou, and now he's getting older. You need longer between fights to recover, so you're not easily knocked out again. So that's another thing. And also, Dana said, and it's money talks, John Jones is going to fight Francis next. We know that's going to happen, but I think in a more sensible world, Derek Lewis deserves a title shot more than John Jones does. And John Jones, it'd be good for him to have one fight in the heavyweight division before fighting for the title. And who better to fight against than the former champion, than arguably the heavyweight GOATs. It's not as if he's taken an easy heavyweight fight. It's still a huge challenge. So I like both of them, but they won't happen.
When you look at John Jones, right, and in his status, it doesn't matter what he's done in the heavyweight division. I don't think he doesn't need to fight Stipe. Stipe just lost. Why would you waste a fight on Stipe when you could have Jones versus Ngannou, where Jones goes for the title immediately, and if he wins the title, that's great. If he doesn't, then you could build Francis even more. You know what I mean? Like taking a title eliminator for Jones, that's a bad idea for Jones, I think, and for the UFC. Yeah. If they're making business moves. Derek Lewis, of course, he deserves the fight, and if maybe something happens to John Jones, if he gets injured, I could see them just saying, all right, Ngannou wants to stay active. It's always good to have an active heavyweight champion. Let's put Derek Lewis in there and let's see what happens in the rematch. Because no matter who wins that fight, they're gonna fight John Jones. The A side is John Jones no matter what. So whoever's holding the belt is the B side. Yes, we want Francis to fight John Jones, but it might not work out like that. And Stipe, I don't know where he fits in this picture. I think he'll wait until Ngannou defends the title, and maybe he'll get the trilogy fight after that. Most likely if he fights John Jones and beats him.
Lewis is a bit of a stumbling block for John Jones, because the UFC are just going to say, if he asks for a little bit too much money, they will just say, we don't care, we'll give it to Derek Lewis then. So they've got that to fall back on. And so that doesn't help John Jones's case for arguing for more money. So again, let's hope it gets figured out soon, so we can, again, this heavyweight division, we've seen one title fight a year. Francis wants to be more active. Let's get this sorted. Let's get this heavyweight division moving forward.
Leon, like I said, Leon, I think Derek Lewis doesn't matter in this. Like, they could use him, yes, but it doesn't matter.
That's what I mean, using him, for negotiations.
It doesn't matter though, because even if they dangle Derek Lewis, he's going to get the next title shot. John Jones is still the A side in any matchup coming up, so it does not matter. He is more valuable as a commodity for the UFC compared to the champion. So anybody could be holding the belt. Derek Lewis could be holding the belt. Stipe could be holding. It doesn't matter. John Jones is the A side, so John Jones is good position, I think. If the UFC is going to have to pony up, like they did with Jorge Masvidal. Eventually, they're going to be painted into a corner, and they're going to have to give John Jones what he wants. And I think they should, man. We should be pushing for more money for these fighters, especially guys like this. Just move on and give them the money. You guys got it, man. Imagine how much money they've made so far this year and last year. Just on pay-per-views and just everything, all the TV deals. It must be insane amounts of money. Give it to John Jones.
They just made the highest gate ever, I think, for
exactly.
Usman Masvidal rematch. So
not there. It broke the actual arena's record.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, in Jacksonville, I see. Yeah. Well, it seems like the ticket prices are going for a lot, even for the nosebleeds. So I'm sure they've got some money tucked away. Hopefully they can give a little bit to Mr. Bones. A few quid, yeah. Some comments here I'll just get through. Lapido Light saying, but fans may not want to see Lewis and Ganu again. Yeah, it did stink the joint out. Alan would like to see Gan versus Lewis, but Gan versus Jairzinho was boring, so I would like Cyril Gan versus Volkov. Yeah, is Volkov in the mix? Maybe Lewis versus Volkov. Does that work for you guys? Who does Lewis fight? Chris was asking that as well. Who does Derek Lewis fight while Bones and Francis go at it? Volkov or Gan for a #1 contender?
I say you would put Derek Lewis against Cyril Gane. I think that's the test right there. And he's undefeated. You know what I mean? And he's just coming off a big win against Jairzinho. Let's see if Ganu could do that to Derek Lewis. Can he do the same thing he did to Jairzinho against Derek Lewis? I like to see it if Derek Lewis wants to fight, if he's not going to wait for the title shot, because the line is long because John Jones is there. If John Jones wasn't there, it would be Derek Lewis next, and then maybe a Stipe trilogy if Ngannou wins. But and then after that, if you got Ganu, you know, Ganu could face like someone like Chris was saying, he could face Volkov, and and there's a couple of other matchups in the division. But man, that wrench is there, that John Jones wrench.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think Ganu will be the ideal next opponent for Lewis if he doesn't get the title shot, which he most likely won't. And yeah, things would be a lot more simple in this heavyweight division if John Jones weren't on the scene.
Let's see how it plays out, guys. But what about, let's go to the co-main event, the new co-main event. It was after Volkanovski and Ortega was sadly scratched. Vicente Luque submitting former champion Tyron Woodley. Now I picked Woodley on Fanatics and I've got egg all over my face. But what a fight, first of all, guys. It was just an action-packed, you know, so much stuff going on. They each got rocked, I think, but Woodley looked a lot more aggressive, I would say, but ultimately that was probably not the right way to do it. But he had been so hesitant, hadn't he, guys, over his last 3 fights? He lost 15 rounds in a row, pretty much. So did Woodley get it wrong? Is it time for him to quit? Where should we start? I'll throw it to John, first of all. Is this the end of Woodley? Are they going to cut him? You know, either way.
Well, I don't know if they're gonna cut him. Maybe he'll get released. Maybe is that the same thing? I guess so. But yeah, you can't lose 4 in a row and still stick around, especially when you've butt heads with the UFC in the past. If you're a fan favorite and you're a company guy, you know, I could see them giving you a 5th fight. You know, I think they're doing that to Cowboy Cerrone. I think he's on his like 4-fight losing streak right now. But with Woodley, I don't see any upside in the UFC really keeping him around, right? Because if he fights more up and comers, what's going to happen? Maybe he could compete with some of them, but I think a lot of the guys would probably beat him, especially the form he's in right now. You've seen him against Luque. Luque went in there and perfect. It wasn't a perfect fight, but it was a perfectly entertaining fight. It was a perfect Luque fight. Luque always does that. He goes in there, makes things exciting, and he goes in there and finishes fights, and that's what he did to Woodley, man. It was an incredible performance by Luque. Luque, I think he got over the hump with this fight. You know, the first chance he had was against Wonderboy. He kind of froze in that one. He said he learned a lot when I talked to him about it, and now he goes in there much more composed, and he was composed. He was picking his shots. He wasn't rushing in there too fast. And and he went to his Darce choke, one of his favorite submissions. It was a great fight, man. Woodley did great too, I thought. I thought he was, like Nick was saying, he was aggressive, but he was just throwing the same combinations over. And then Luque figured it out, man. That overhand right, that was the main thing that he was throwing, and he was timing things perfectly. But Woodley, man, props to him for coming out, having some urgency, and trying to fight for his contract. And he did. He failed, but man, you got to give him some respect for that.
I agree. It would have been so easy for him to walk away from the sport after he lost to Colby Covington. So on one hand, before this fight, he lost 3 in a row, which sounds bad. But on the other side, he lost to 3 of the best in the division. Then on the other flip side again, he looks so lackluster and outclassed in all 3 of them fights. And then today, fair play, not only did he turn up, but he tried to do something he didn't do in any of his last 3 fights. He tried to be proactive. He tried to be aggressive. He tried to do something. He tried to make the result happen rather than just watching the fight go by. So, got to give him credit. But again, 4 losses in a row. Dana said afterwards in the press conference, he kind of said 4 losses in a row. And he said he's 39 now. He hinted that he doesn't want him to fight again. That doesn't necessarily mean he'll be released, but I guess it's not ideal if the boss doesn't think he should fight again. But then we've seen that a few times before, i.e. like BJ Penn. Dana said he doesn't want, I think he said he's not fighting again, and then he fought again. So we'll see what he does next, if at all.
And another key point in this fight, sorry to cut you off, but
no worries.
Tyron, he wrestled in this fight, right? But man, Luque has great takedown defense. Even though Tyron is so credentialed in wrestling. Luque fought it off. He defended the takedown. It's almost like the main event in some ways, right? The guy that wrestles tried to wrestle, but it didn't work this time, and then the other guy took over on the feet. So props to Luque on the improved takedown defense, and plus he had Gilbert Burns in his corner, one of his best friends, and he also beat Woodley in a 5-round fight, right? A decision, but Luque goes in there and does it in 1 round. Ain't that incredible?
I'll get some comments here quickly. Chris says, I feel if Woodley's released, there really isn't any space for him in another organization. Alan suggesting T Wood versus Robbie Lawler 2. I think someone in the chat.
We're talking like it's not his choice. He may not want to fight again after this. I mean, like we said, we commended him for wanting to come back for this fight. But will he want to come back again now? Because although Luque is a fantastic fighter, he's not the big name yet that Covington is, that Burns is, that obviously Usman is. So, and it's a 4th in a row. So, will he want to fight again? We'll have to wait and see.
Yes, Epilot pointing out his contract is up, I read at least. So, he can't get released, but he can get not renewed. Did we know if his contract's up? I wasn't sure of that, actually. But maybe you guys have heard that.
I don't know about his contract,
okay.
But you know how the contracts work. If they don't like you, they could just release you. So it's not up to anybody.
Yeah, there we go. Summed up Roy saying Luque lets you hit him so he can counter. Usman, Burns, Colby are imposers of the game. That makes you timid. Woodley was allowed to be more active by a fighter that allows it systematically. Yeah, not a lot of love for T Wood in the comments here, guys. And what about Luque, though? Because he has lost. The only one of those losses in that last 10, I think, is to Wonderboy, right? So
and
you do that.
All his wins as well.
Yeah, I think so. Very impressive fighter. I think. Do you go back to Wonderboy for him? What's next for Luque?
No, you don't go back to Wonderboy. I think Wonderboy deserves somebody much bigger name, someone closer to the title or a title shot. Because where's Wonderboy sitting at? He's sitting at number 5. Yeah, you got a couple names. You could put him against Damian Maia. Damian Maia's ranked number 8. Vicente probably will
What's
be
happened
ranked.
to Damian Maia?
I don't know, but he doesn't have a fight, so let's see Luque go in there and beat him.
No, I think he wanted one more, but as time goes on, he's in his 40s now, isn't he? So
yeah,
time isn't on his side, really.
So only fights that he has that he could take right now is Chiesa, who's ranked 6, and maybe Leon. Maybe maybe Leon, because Leon has he hasn't fought in so long, and then he has a controversial win in his last fight. Maybe what?
I said I'm not fighting him. No way.
You're not fighting him? Yeah.
Wonderboy versus Leon. Yeah.
Yeah. Luque versus Leon, the rematch. Well, I like to see that. I like to see Leon get smashed in the face for a change.
Hey,
which Leon? Edwards or
Leon?
This Leon, okay.
He's too handsome. We gotta mess up the face a little bit. Come on,
it's unfair. He's very handsome. Some people here saying, Alan suggesting Wonderboy versus Leon and Chiesa versus Luque.
Leon's the king of Cambodia. You know that, right?
Yeah. Leon's favorite holiday destination, Cambodia. Summed up saying that Woodley said he mismanaged his money and he lost loads in divorce and alimony battles. He'll come back to fight out of necessity, I reckon. Yeah, I think he'll still fight, but I don't see it happening in the UFC, guys. I mean, where would you go if you're Woodley? What's the best proposition for him?
Man, not many promotions. I think he comes with a heavy price tag. And if he doesn't lower that price tag, I don't see him fighting anymore, ever, anywhere, because it's just not going to be worth it for him. I don't know if PFL will pick him up. Maybe they will. Who knows? He could fight in that welterweight tournament. I don't know if it's going to be this year. Most likely it'll probably have to happen next year. Bellator, I don't see Bellator signing him because, of course, he's on a 4-fight losing streak, and Bellator doesn't want to sign fighters coming off losses. That's something that they talked about. He's not a big name like a Yoel Romero or Anthony Johnson, so I don't see them kind of chasing after him at all. But you never know, because he has that Strikeforce ties with Scott Coker. Woodley was the champ over there at Strikeforce at welterweight. He was a good champ. That was his first championship or major championship. Maybe they're cool with each other. Maybe his management's cool. Maybe they could get a deal done. I don't know, but I don't see him doing very well over there either. It's just he's just going to be I don't know. I guess I don't want to say he's a gatekeeper, but I guess that's what he's fighting for, to be a gatekeeper. You know, I don't know if he makes another title run in another division. It's not like, you know, years ago where a fighter like him could go to another promotion and dominate. Now there's talent everywhere. There's killers everywhere. So if you go to another promotion, you're not going to have an easy run. We found that out with many guys. So I don't know, man. He's in a tight spot. I think he raps. I think he, you know, produces. I think he goes into Hollywood. I think that's the best thing for him because he's already has his foot in there. So why not just, you know, burst through the door and see what you can do?
I think if he does want to fight again, the only good fit for him would be the PFL, maybe the 2022 season.
But he's also 37.
Yeah, PFL is bad for Woodley with Rory and Magomed Karimov. Nightmare matchups for him.
Nowhere's ideal for him.
Yeah, imagine Woodley versus what is it? Cooper. The one that won last year.
Ray Cooper.
Yeah, Ray Cooper. That, oh man, that's a slugger fest right there. But yeah, Ray Cooper's heavy hands. That'll be a fun one.
Yeah, and here is Sepulot pointing out, couldn't Brave give him some good Bahrain money? Adam H saying T-Wood coming to a Bellator event near you. Chris is here saying,
got so much money. They don't tend to buy any big names, do they? Big name signings or former UFC fighters. Brave. The only former UFC fighter I can remember going to them was Jeremy Kennedy, is it?
Well, the thing is with Brave, they've signed a bunch of former UFC flyweights because right now they're in the middle of a flyweight tournament. So half the bracket is filled with like Shorty Torres and Ali Bagatinov and Dustin Ortiz, you know, guys like that. So they do have some former UFC guys, but none of those guys are like major names. Yeah, I don't think they want to do that. I think they want to create their own fighters or, you know, or sign guys from obscure, you know, locations around the world. I don't know. I really don't understand what they're trying to do in Brave. Are they trying to be a feeder league or are they trying to establish themselves as one of the bigger promotions in the world? I'm kind of clueless on that part or that aspect.
We'll see how it plays out. Chris saying Woodley should copy Habib and Usman, should start cornering Aljo and Leon so we can double down on their hate. There we go. Alan, maybe just a retirement deal with Bellator and a few handpicked fights. Also Benson Henderson versus T-Wood. Adam is not impressed by Woodley's rapping skills. John, or your suggestion that he could go rap? Yeah.
He does films as well, doesn't he? So he's got a few options.
Yeah, but I don't find him particularly charismatic or entertaining to the point I want to watch him whatever he does. Even in fighting, I'm not trying to be harsh. I just don't think he's got that X factor, has he?
Not anymore. He used to just be a murderer. Now he's just.
I always thought he was a little bit overrated when he was champion, because again, it's the whole recency bias thing. People were talking about how great he was, how he's beating GSP. I also he's good. He's a worthy champion, but to escalate him to the greatness people were talking about at the time, I think was a little bit premature. I think the same thing a little bit with Kamaru Usman now. I think it's still a little bit premature. I need to see Usman prove himself a little bit before he's compared to the GSPs and the greats of the welterweight division.
Well, with Woodley, of course they're going to say these things because he came in like a bat out of hell, like a fire, you know, like a missile, right? And then, of course, he got found out. Yeah. He got found out by, and you know why? It's because those close fights against Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. I think that's what kind of clouded people's judgment about Woodley. But Woodley was a great champion, man. He was a great fighter. It's just he declined real fast. I think it's the age and out of the cage things that were happening. I heard he had a lot of problems with, you know, his family and his divorce. I think someone mentioned that earlier. I heard that really got into his head during the preparations for Usman, and he hasn't never recovered from that. You know what I mean? So, you know, like this game is mental. You know, it's stupid to say because we should know that already, but it is mental, and I think mentally
mainly mental. I think.
Yeah, and he just couldn't get over the hump.
Strong, everyone's technical.
Yeah, and Usman, man, I'm on the train, man. You know me, right, Nick? I'm not on the train at all, but with Usman, I'm on the train. I think he would, if GSP came back, there's a reason why he's not going to come back and fight Usman. There's too much risk and not enough reward in that fight. Usman is a monster. Like I don't even think he's as good as he's going to be yet. I think he's still improving like a lot of the champions we have. But man, I feel like no one's gonna beat him. Like look how he just destroyed everybody. Like Colby, Burns, his teammate, the one guy that knows everything about him, and he went in there and knocked him out with the jab. You know what I mean? Like it's just incredible.
Really rocked in the first round.
Yeah, but it just shows you his like durability too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can't have just one side where the guy just dominates all the time. Then you got a Conor McGregor, right? A guy that goes in there and beats everybody real quick. And then what happens? His decline is really fast, and he's not as good as we thought he was. He just was great at those moments, right? But with Usman, he has longevity, man. He's beaten number 1, number 2, number 3, not as a title defense, but number 4 he's beaten. He hasn't fought number 5. So he's got like number 5. It was Stephen Thompson, and then you got Chiesa, and then he beat Woodley, and he beat Maya. He got Magny, and he got Luque. Oh, he hasn't fought Luque, right? So he's he has maybe 3 more fights, and he's pretty much cleared out the top 10 until the new guys come up. But I see Usman just continuing to fight. That's what's great about him too. I think he's just going to continue at welterweight and beat the hell out of everybody. I don't see him moving up to middleweight anytime soon. And yeah, man, I just think you guys should appreciate it, Leon, because I know you back your boy Leon Edwards because you guys got the same name. But come on, man, give some respect to Usman.
I do think Usman's a beast and he's a worthy champion. I just think talk of him comparing him to GSP is far too premature because he gets that whole recency bias. The same thing with Woodley. Again, I don't think Woodley was a great champion. He was a worthy champion at the time, but he wasn't a great champion. Like you say, he burst on the scene with a spectacular knockout of Robbie Lawler. That was amazing. Then he had the first, if I remember rightly, first fight of Wonder Boy was just amazing back and forth. And was it a draw?
Yeah, the first one I believe was a draw.
And the second one just really boring. They were both just standing off each other, and it was a split decision. Am I thinking right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but you could argue that Woodley had the biggest moments in those fights, right?
Yeah, I mean,
or he nearly finished
the first fight. The second fight, nothing really happened though, did it? From what I remember, I mean, I haven't seen it.
Pretty boring.
Fight, and then after that, was it Darren Till next?
I think he had Maya, and that was really boring.
Maya again, that was good in a way because David Maya, everyone knows exactly what he's going to do, but no one's been able to stop him apart from Woodley, Usman, and someone else. Burns. Yeah, just used their ground game, just out dominated them. And then was it Till, which again was that was a good solid performance against someone who almost died cutting weight. And then he lost to Usman, completely blitzed every second for 25 minutes. So again, I like Wood as a person, but I agree with Nick. He doesn't really have that natural star power. He hasn't got that natural thing that people just gravitate to. I like him as a person. I thought he was a good champion, a worthy champion, but not a great champion. And I don't think Usman's a great champion yet. He's a worthy champion and he's a beast.
Strong stuff from Leon there. Apparently Woodley had a spot on Hawaii 5-0, but no lines. Sepulot says he doesn't need...
I saw on an episode of what is it? How to Make a Murder. He was great on that. Maybe a CSI Miami. I think he was there on one of those shows. Yeah. What about that one clip that's going around of him getting his like wiener chopped off by some like rabid animal in a cage? Did you see that one?
Yeah,
I didn't.
Dude, that was crazy. I don't know how they talked him into that.
It's not exactly like he's The Rock, though, is it? So
no. But the thing
all
is,
the best
like,
to him if he can carve out a career there. But if you're having guest spots doing embarrassing things and people are mocking you, it probably doesn't mean he's really carving out that career.
If he's not a fighter, people wouldn't be mocking him. let's just put it like that, right? If he's not a fighter, people would be mocking him. He'd just be an actor trying to come up in the industry. So now if he stops fighting, he could get into acting more, concentrate on that, maybe concentrate on the music, maybe even concentrate on other things that he's got in the works. Who knows what he's got there in Hollywood. And he could be successful, man. That's what I want to see fighters do. You know what I mean? If you're going to retire to something. Don't just retire to, if you have to retire to a gym and owning a gym, that's fine. But if you have some other stuff that you can get in and make a lot of money from, do it.
I actually think he's good talking. Maybe he could have some kind of analyst role or broadcast. Do you think he could fit in?
TNT Sports thing, isn't he? Is he still doing that? I haven't seen him on there for a while, but there was also as well. Not only is the one clip that's gone viral of in a movie is him getting his privates chewed up by, I don't know, some alien or animal. I can't remember what it was, but his rap, that one clip everyone plays about coming in and out of love, and it's just been played over so many funny clips as well. Things just haven't worked out well for him.
Alan is excited for T Wood to have more time to make more albums. I think Alan's joking there.
I think it's sarcasm.
I hate rap music anyway, really. So
oh my God, Leon. Where were you born in the 1920s? Come on. You don't like any rap music at all?
Rap crap. I do, to be honest. I like It's Your Birthday, that song. Like songs that got cool.
That's like melody. The worst rap music out there.
That's not really a rap. Is that hip hop? I don't know, but is that similar field.
Leon, what are you listening to? Yo-Yo Ma? What's going on?
I just listen to guitar music. I just listen to the best bands ever: the Beatles, Oasis, The Who, the Rolling Stones, Kasabian.
That's good music.
That's real music.
No need to tear down a whole genre just because you like the Beatles. Come on, buddy.
But it's real music. All that other stuff.
What is real music?
Oh, guitar music's real music. Everything else is nonsense.
Hey, are you wearing your flip-flops while you listen to the Beatles?
I've never worn flip-flops.
That's a dig at Nick. He said he never wore flip-flops.
Oh God!
Don't do flip-flops. Don't do sandals. There's a lot of things I don't do. I don't do wallets. Don't do aftershave. Don't do dancing.
What?
Don't do dressing gowns. Don't do waistcoats.
T-tops? What about T-tops?
Dressing gowns? What?
Don't do dressing gowns. Silly, waste of time.
What
Don't do waistcoats. Silly, waste of time.
What about nose rings?
Don't carry a wallet. Waste of time. Don't do jet lag.
Don't wear pants. Waste of time. He just said don't wear pants. Waste of time. He hasn't worn pants in like 2.5 years.
20 years. I've worn underwear for about 25 years.
Oh my God. Why?
You better stay away from the window, Leon. I hear like kids in the background or something.
Yeah. I've been to his apartment. It's like a massive complex. Yeah.
It's a playground somewhere.
Like
I can hear the kids.
What's wrong with wallets, Leon? Well, they hold cards and money.
Just put my cash in my pocket. With my card.
Hey, this is a nice little wallet. It's like very small. You got your card, your little cash right there. It's nothing. It's like put your front pocket. Why not, man?
Don't do watches.
Be civilized, man.
Now my phone's got the time in it. What's the point in wearing a watch anymore?
Next thing you know, he's not even gonna brush his teeth.
I brush my teeth. You can define me by what I don't do.
Yeah. Okay.
We'll get back to that after the card. We'll get back to that. What you don't do. Let's get back to that later. That's an interesting question.
You want a lot of information there.
Yeah. My brain's fried. My brain's fried right now.
Try being my brain.
Yeah. If anyone wants to clip up some of that from Leon, maybe we can get it viral.
Musical recommendations. I'm available 24/7.
He kind of sounded like. You kind of sound like Bubba Gump from what is it? From Forrest Gump, where he was like, shrimp kebab. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Anyway, let's try and talk about Sean O'Malley. Am I right? That was the third from the top. Yeah.
Yeah.
O'Malley with a spectacular KO against Thomas Almeida. But the interesting thing, guys, is the first round, he was looking for that walk-off KO, wasn't he? He hit him with a head kick and then dropped him with a left. Started walking off, but the ref didn't stop it. He could have probably swarmed in, couldn't he, and got the finish. And I think a lot of people would have criticized him afterwards, even when he was about to get the decision. But it doesn't matter anyway, because he went and finished him again this time. Well, I thought the ref could have stepped in both times, especially the second time. Almeida was out, and then he took a really, really nasty shot, didn't he? Looked like he got his nose broken. But O'Malley, the hype train, is back on tracks. Back on the tracks, sorry.
I think the referee. I think it was like the first time the referee, because
I should ask questions. Sorry, not just make statements. Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, he went down. Thomas Almeida went down the first time, covering up, and then he's kind of like, "Where's he gone?" Like, so he was completely with it. Like I say, things are a bit different, but it reminds me of, remember when Alistair Overeem was in Korea for UFC Busan, and asked him a question about his stoppage because he lost in a few seconds left by
Rosenstrike
Jairzinho during the walk-off knockout, and Overeem wasn't happy about that. And then he put me on the spot and thought, "Did you agree with the decision?" I was like, I wanted to say yes.
He peed a little bit right there.
So I thought the referee could have stopped a few seconds later, which would have meant Overeem would have won because it was the last few seconds of the fight. I was trying to compromise in the middle.
I remember that. That was hilarious.
Yeah, I don't think Overeem took that too well.
That was so funny. Oh, God.
He
we were all
remembers
there,
you.
weren't we?
He remembers you.
Well, here's some comments I'll just get through. O'Malley gave Almeida that work. Yeah, he looked spectacular, I thought. Just really, really high fight IQ.
What was going on with his head feints? I mean, we've all seen feints. I've never seen anyone go 180-degree head turn.
Yeah, it was unusual but effective, I think. In a way, he set a lot of traps for Almeida and then caught him.
Yeah.
Adam H says, though, that fight was tailor-made for O'Malley.
Well,
yeah,
I heard that he was during training camp. He was watching Saturday Night Fever like every night, so. And he was stealing some moves from John Travolta. So you better give credit to him. But yeah, O'Malley went out there and did a great job, man. I thought he had an incredible performance. He looked loose. He looked fast. He looked really fast, man. I thought Almeida was fast, and Sean just went in there much quicker with his hands. Nice kicks, stomps. The stomps to the knee was very effective for O'Malley. He was very accurate with his punches, and I thought he could have. The ref could have stepped in the first round, and he would have had a first round finish. But actually, I'm glad he did not step in, and he allowed Thomas to get up, because we got to see more of O'Malley and more of what he can do, man. He was very fluid, very creative. He was nasty, man. His hands connecting with everything pretty much. And Almeida, man, he's another guy. He's like Woodley. He's just dropping off. It's weird to see because he's not that old.
What was that, Leon?
I was saying, before he lost to Cody Garbrandt, he was one of the next big things.
Yeah, he was the Cody Garbrandt before he lost to Cody Garbrandt.
Yeah,
you know, like he was. They're building him like that, and now we see him getting starched by O'Malley. It's sad to see sometimes these fighters decline so fast, but you know, we've seen two fighters on this card back to back, Woodley and Almeida, declining at a terrible rate. And man, O'Malley and Luque, they're benefiting off of it. O'Malley, going back to him. I want to see him fight. I thought he should have called out Uriah Faber. If Uriah Faber is still fighting, I thought that would be a good call out. The dude is a big name, a guy that's beatable because he's old and he hasn't fought in a while. And we don't know if he's retired yet, but people are talking about Marlon Moraes. That's also a great fight because Marlon hasn't looked great yet, and he's very hittable, and his chin is not holding up. And O'Malley could use his name and catapult himself. But I don't think he should get like a top ranked guy or anything like that. I wouldn't be mad if he fought another like mid-level fighter again, you know, just to build that resume a little bit more, because you got to gain some momentum, man. You can't just have one fight, then get messed up and then lose and then come back and fight some guy that was kind of on the decline anyways, and then get another big fight automatically. He needs to take it a little bit slower. He has new management, so we'll see what they're going to do with him.
Someone's just come to take my laptop charger. He's stealing it from me, but he's delivered some alcohol in exchange, so I'm happy with that.
It's a fair swap.
Alex Lynn, everyone, yeah, his girlfriend's laptop charger is broken, so she needs it. Is that it? The wrong charger. Yeah. Oh, he's walked all the way to my apartment, up 5 flights of stairs, and it's the wrong type of charger. So that's hilarious. And he's just bought me some booze. So he's wasted his time and his money.
Son.
Good to have you on the show, Alex. But what are we talking about? Here's summed up. Yeah, O'Malley did so many great things. I don't mind him trying to get a good highlight out of that walk-off. Does the Cheetah rematch make sense? By the way, Almeida's gym seems to have gotten better. Yeah, what about Cheetah O'Malley? Run that one back, because O'Malley had a chip on his shoulder going into his fight, and he mentioned it afterwards. He said a lot of people said a lot of stupid things. They think I don't know how to check a calf kick, a leg kick. Does O'Malley have a point there? And was it a freak injury? And if so, I wouldn't mind seeing that one again. Let's see if O'Malley can beat Cheetah.
Normally, when you win a fight, you don't often want to give the guy a rematch. So I don't know if Sean O'Malley wants to give Cheetah a rematch, because he's already beaten him once.
I see you, Alex.
Well, yeah. I don't want to see the Cheeto fight anyways. I don't care for that fight, because Cheeto beat him. He beat him by beating him and beating up his legs, right? There's all this check a calf kick. Of course, there's guys that check it and guys don't. You know what I mean? Who cares? Sean O'Malley and Cheeto Vera are in different positions in the division. I don't see a rematch, helping either one of these guys. So put him against someone else. I don't see why they would chase after. And O'Malley, that wasn't a freak accident. He hurt his leg in the Andre Sukumtop fight too, man. Yeah. And if Andre would have, had a different plan in that fight, he would have lost that fight, O'Malley. And we wouldn't be talking about him like we are right now, because he would have probably lost other fights. It's just his legs are not as strong. If you look at him, he doesn't have the thick legs like a lot of guys do. And maybe, it's easier to hit the nerve. But just blaming the nerve doesn't make any sense. Like, dude, you got hurt and you're smashed. And Cheeto smashed your face. It's over. Like, move on. And Cheeto, he's coming off. Is he coming off a loss too? Yeah, he lost to Aldo, right? Mm-hmm. Won't you put O'Malley against Aldo then? Why not?
That's what Lepido Light has suggested. Garbrandt versus O'Malley as well.
Legs. If Aldo goes back to
that's what I'm saying. If his legs are not as weak as he says, then won't you just put him against one of the best leg kickers that we've seen in the past, is Jose Aldo. But like I said earlier, I don't want him to fight somebody at the top of the division. I want him to kind of build himself up, get more experience. Then when he does get another fight with a big name, he's more ready and he could perform the way he wants to perform. It's just I don't know. But if they give him a big name, they give him a big name. It's all good. I ain't mad at him.
I think the fact he got dropped foot was a little bit unlucky, because it's such a rare injury. On the other hand, you make your own luck. And Cheeto wasn't kicking his calves by accident. He was kicking them for a purpose, and he got the result he wanted. So, yeah, to question the actual result is a bit silly. But again, that's, like I said before, winners have that mentality where they twist everything into a winning mindset. And for most people, and even to normal people, that does sound a bit ludicrous at times, but it's what champions do. Not calling O'Malley a champion, but that is what champions, positive fighters, and the best fighters do. They find a way of giving it a twist. And O'Malley certainly doesn't have an issue with doing that, and then coming up publicly and saying it, knowing that most people think it sounds ridiculous. He really doesn't care.
Okay, well, let's maybe get through the rest of the card. I'm just trying to bring it up on screen here. With Fanatics, remember everyone, go download Fanatics. Leon, why are you not on Fanatics yet?
That's another thing I can add to my list of things I don't do. I don't do computer games, I don't do betting, and I don't do Fanatics.
All right, well, yeah, Go check it out, guys. Get Fanatics.app.
Everyone else
It's in the description there. Come join
Everybody
our
was
SCMP.
wrong.
Everybody was wrong. Yeah. Oh wow. Drake, Jasmine, JHK, Chris, and myself all got that one wrong.
So funny. So funny.
Yeah. I don't even want to look at my final score. I was on a nice little 4-fight win streak before someone lost. I'll have a look in a minute. But yeah, let's get through this card though. Most of us got O'Malley. Oh, John, you went for Almeida.
Yeah, I went for Almeida.
Who
went for Woodley?
Let's not talk about that one.
Who went for Woodley?
I don't know. What was it? Was it Chris?
Some guy in
yeah.
the ocean. He's in the ocean.
Yeah. Miranda Maverick. Yeah. Decision over Gillian Robertson. We all got that right, at least.
Yeah.
How did she look to you? Good experience, wasn't it, for her? I think proper prospect there. So not a bad day at the office, was it, for Miranda?
She's still developing, right? But she's developing at the highest level. Like, she's always had the ground game. Like, I've interviewed Miranda Maverick back in the day, like 3-4 years ago when she was coming up in Invicta. And she was known as a grappler back then. So she always has the grappling. She always has the submission skills that she could fall back on. And she's been developing her like Muay Thai and her striking the last couple of years. That's why you've seen her in this fight try to work more of her Muay Thai. She's still not as comfortable as she should be, you know, and she's still working on it. But man, she did really well. And when the striking wasn't working, she went to the ground in the third round. And what happened? She got that third round decision, man. She was close to getting a finish on the ground. She just needed a little bit more time, but she's I tout her very highly in this division. This is only her second fight, but she looked great. Jillian's had I think Jillian's had the most fights in UFC flyweight history for women's, and she's still really young, right? But just not the best luck, right? Back-to-back losses, and I think this was the last fight on her contract, so we'll see what happens to her. I think the UFC should keep her around because she's only 24 years old, and she still has a high ceiling. She's developing all the time. She fights really often. She has a 9-6 record now, so it's not too bad looking. She could get on a little streak, have her fight some of the lower level girls coming up, and build some wins, and we'll see what happens. With Miranda Maverick, she's calling out Antonina Shevchenko. I think that's a good matchup. I think she goes in there and beats Antonina Shevchenko, though. Like, that's a stylistic matchup that's not really great for Shevchenko, because Miranda Maverick can take her down and go to the ground and have top position. And we've seen Antonina Shevchenko have problems from bottom position. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what the UFC wants to do. But I could see them putting that fight together. I was really impressed by Miranda Maverick, even though she did look sloppy at times on the feet in the early going. But yeah, it was great. Leon, do not criticize Jillian.
She was rubbish. Again, very impressive. 23, I just agree with you. You said, yeah, real prospect in that division. Against Gillian Roberts, like I say, she's only got a 9-6 record, but she's amazing on the ground, and she's only young. I think she's 25, and like I say, I think she's fought 8 or 9 times already in the UFC. So I think her position in the UFC is safe, isn't she? She'll lose her spot in the top 15 to Miranda, though. And Miranda as well, what a cool surname. Let's not forget that.
That is a cool surname.
Are you a fan of Top Gun?
Yeah, it's all right. I like it.
Or is that on the list of things that you don't do?
I like films. And Top Gun 2 is supposed to come out, isn't it, at some point?
Yeah, it's coming back next year.
I think it's supposed to come out already, wasn't it? But it's been put back because of the whole craziness of the world.
But yeah, just anyways, like, were you, was Maverick someone you thought, Leon, that was you think that is gonna be able to go and challenge Shevchenko?
Potentially, yeah. I mean, like I said, she's only 23, and this is only her second fight in the UFC, but potentially, yeah. I mean, at 23 years old to look that good is. But then, obviously, Valentina's a tall ask for anyone. It's almost like everyone's competing for the second spot in the division. But give her a few years, you never know. It's so difficult to predict these things.
Just seen a tweet from John Jones.
What did he say?
Literally 13 seconds ago. Someone tweeted him saying, Dana's already using Derek Lewis as leverage against you. He says, it's okay, Derek can have the fight. No need to rush a great thing. I've already had a Hall of Fame career. I'm going to need some bread. So,
See?
yeah, here we go.
I
Here we
told
go. I don't
you.
think it's done. I don't think it's
I mean,
done.
I told you earlier, like, John Jones doesn't have to fight. Like, John Jones is the A side. He knows that. So dangling Derek Lewis, and they have the same manager. They have the same manager. You know, so I don't know. You know, I think John Jones is in a good spot. That's why he's saying all these things, and that's why he's tweeting stuff out, because he knows.
I agree, he is, but he'd be in a better situation if Derek Lewis didn't deserve the next title shot. Because although he's the A side, Dana White will still say if he asks for too much money, he might not ask for too much money. He might ask for a reasonable amount. But if he does, Dana's just going to say, fair enough, we'll make Derek Lewis fight Ngannou. And Dana White will just do that. And we'll see that fight in the summer. And then we'll have to hope then that John Jones fights the winner of that.
All right, back on this one quickly. This could be bad analysis, says Sepilot, but it seems like Robertson doesn't put much into position and is always trying for submission. So loses position a lot. Lepi Delight suggesting Maverick versus Macy Barber. Do you want to see that, John?
No, because Macy Barber, she would. If they're gonna fight, I would see Maverick going in there and doing the same exact thing to Macy Barber. Maverick, I feel like, is a much more powerful fighter. I think you should let Macy Barber fight somebody else. You don't want to kill two prospects at one time. And Macy Barber's even younger than Miranda Maverick. I think Macy Barber's like 21 years old, so you don't want to rush that with them. Like going back to Sepilot's comment about Robinson. No, you're exactly correct about Robinson. That's what she does, and she's always done that. She's always gone for submissions, not for positions. And I guess that as you get more fight time in and get more experience, you start to realize, okay, in this position I should stay here and ground and pound instead of going for an arm lock, or I should go in for a sweep here and try to get up instead of staying down and trying to go for arm bars. But that's just, as a young fighter, she's only 24. She's still learning. So, but you're right. 25.
25. But yeah, she is slick on the ground as well. So that's obviously her strength. She really works with Din Thomas. But yeah, she'll come back stronger.
Let's go, Kama.
Let's go down. I'm just dealing with my mate Alex there with the charger. Sorry. Jamie Malarkey. Wow, what a knockout this was. Karma worthy. The Ric Flair face flop, guys, wasn't it? It was incredible knockout. And a couple of you guys called it. Jasmine and Chris, JHK, Drake, and I all got it wrong. A little bit worrying, is it, John, about Karma Worthy? He's obviously a very skilled fighter, but doesn't seem to have the durability. I think Adam Martin was talking about that a bit on Twitter, and I had to agree.
Yeah, back-to-back losses by KO. Whenever you have that situation, of course, people are going to suspect that your chin is gone. And it's not like Kama hasn't been knocked out before. He's been knocked out coming up in the regional scene. It's just, that's his style. That's the way he fights. He fights to get knocked out or knock out the other guy, the finish or be finished. That's his mentality. He's out here. I've talked to him many times. His goal is to make as much money as possible. And how do you make much money is to be in exciting fights. And that's what he wants to do. And there's the huge risk to that. And you saw the pitfalls of that style. Is just, Malarkey came in there a little bit more crisp, a little bit more patient, and he picked his shots perfectly. Doing his training camp with Alex Volkanovski and his head coach Joe Lopez has done wonders for Jamie Malarkey, because he didn't look like that in the first two fights. He was just brawling. It didn't even seem like he had a game plan, but he came out here and surprised everybody. It surprised the shit out of me.
Yeah. Yeah. Obviously he'd been training with Volkanovski, right? Gave him a shout out at the end. Very impressive, very impressive. I haven't got much more to say. So, Leon, if you want to add.
That's not a lot to say about that knockout. But one interesting point, obviously Jamie Malarkey, actually we'll come to Shane Young in a bit, won't we? We're going to go through the whole card?
Yeah, we
Or just
may.
I
Or we
if
kind of
John knows
mentioned
how
the.
come Shane Young fought, because I heard he got took off the card originally. But obviously he trains with Volkanovski. Obviously Brad Riddle was removed from the card last week. Do you know why Shane Young suddenly was back on the card? Does anyone know?
Yeah,
He
Shane
just
Young
didn't
fought.
test positive.
Yeah, so did Jamie Malarkey. He didn't either. I don't think any of those guys tested positive except for Volkanovski, because Volkanovski was actually sick. If you look at the corner for Shane Young and Malarkey, it was Joe Lopez who was with Volkanovski the whole time. His head coach was in the corner, and Brad Riddell, who was pulled from his fight because of COVID protocol, I think because Volkanovski tested positive. And then the other corner was Frank Hickman from the Hickman brothers. He's been down there helping a lot of the New Zealand fighters and Volkanovski's camp with their wrestling. And those three guys were in the corner. They were with Volkanovski the whole time, and they all came out to the fights. Two of the guys fought. So it must be just on Volkanovski, man. That's the guy that's feeling it the most.
Well, sometimes if someone tests positive, they remove everyone associated with them. And obviously Shane Young at one point was removed from the card at the start of the week, and then suddenly was back on the card.
Yeah. There was some speculation on that, right? But it's neither here nor there, right? It's just he was on the card, and
it wasn't really anything.
We are not trying to get down on that rabbit hole of the COVID, right?
No,
Come on, buddy.
I was just wondering that he removed the card, then he fought the card, and obviously, but then I think Alex, when he first announced he had tested positive for COVID, he wasn't actually ill, but then he did actually come down ill with the symptoms as well, didn't he?
He did. They were like for a few days. I think he's maybe still feeling it. That's a trip, right? Like how he was sick from it and everybody else was fine. Even two of the guys that were with him fought tonight. Man, that's wild.
Yeah, hopefully he doesn't have any long-term symptoms or anything. I really wanted to see that fight with Ortega. I just hope I can get that rebooked.
Hey, that fight was supposed to be on this card on the co-main event. I feel like even without that, this card still delivered. Don't you think? Don't you think they had some great fights on this card?
Big time.
I thought there were a bunch of decisions as well, weren't there? But there was kind of.
I'm talking about the main event. I'm talking about the main card, the pay-per-view.
Oh yeah, main card was great. Yeah, I thought the prelims were a little bit less than thrilling.
Oh, of course, but
I'm not criticizing. Always
the part you pay for, right? You pay the 17 or 70 buckaroos, right? The ducats. You pay that to fight. You pay that to watch the pay-per-view, and it was a decent pay-per-view, man. It wasn't disappointing at all. You got to see a lot of up and coming talent, ranked guys, and good finishes, man. Especially the main event. But yeah, this one was incredible. Who got the bonus? Did you see any bonus?
Yeah. Obviously, Woodley versus Luque got the fight of the night. And Ganu and Amali got performance of the night.
Oh, okay. All right.
I can't disagree with that.
Yeah, they deserve it. I thought Malarkey, man. You see, the thing about bonuses, and this is my idea of like what I think should be done with bonuses, is like you should give the bonuses, if you could, to the guys that are like coming up. You know, the guys that are like maybe on the prelims or guys that don't get paid as much. And you know, you're gonna give backroom bonuses to the big name fighters anyways, right? They've been doing that. So why don't you give the bonuses to like the Malarkey, man? Malarkey had a great finish. Menefield, we're gonna get to that. He had a good finish, right? You could have gave him a bonus. And the first fight of the night, you could gave him a bonus. He the guy just completely dominated him for big chunks of the time, man. But the UFC sometimes I guess you give him the 50K bonus, then you don't have to give him a big bonus to the big fighters. I don't know, but
I agree. Certainly, the fighters lower down the card, 50,000 makes a huge difference to
them. Changes your life, man.
Yeah, Ngannou an extra 50,000. He's not really going to notice that too much.
He's probably getting 50,000 from his sponsors outside the UFC to just wear some sweatsuits.
I think the UFC may do that slight. There've been times where the winner of the main event has looked fantastic, and they haven't been one of the winners. But I think when Ngannou looks as good as he does or did, or when someone else in that situation, you've got to a certain extent, because otherwise the whole performance bonus loses a little bit of its, whatever the word is.
Luster?
Kind of respect.
What about this comment? We'll move on. What are your thoughts on my MMA math? Says Ramsey's Matt Hamill beat Jones. Jones beat DC. DC beats Lewis. Lewis beat Ngannou, Ngannou beats Stipe, so Hamill beats Ngannou. Yeah, I'm not sure about that gonna happen, but I like it.
I like the effort.
Yeah, Ellis saying Miocic retire. Now, yeah, a bunch of people have just jumped into the chat, so we've kind of been through all that. Maybe we can get into some comments later on, but we're just going to finish this card briefly. Here we go. Let's get down to it. We'll pick out some of these. Alonzo Menefield with the Von Preux choke against Fabio Charant. That was pretty impressive, guys, wasn't it? If you want to weigh in, otherwise let me know.
Yeah, Menefield, he looked great, man. It was a complete domination. Like, there was no point where Fabio was in that fight. And, you know, you got to give Fabio credit. He came in on like 3 days' notice to fight Alonzo Menefield, who is a beast, who is a monster. He's probably strong as hell. And he just couldn't do anything, man. I don't think he missed weight, number one, you know, and I think that has a big effect on your performance, especially if you probably wasn't training to fight. And that could have been the case for Fabio. Fabio get another chance. You know, it was just Alonzo's day, man. Alonzo, I think he's a guy that you should watch out for in that division at light heavyweight. He's one of the guys coming up, and he's just getting better and better. You know, he trains at one of the best teams, Fortis MMA. So just give him some time. But they should have gave him a bonus. But the rest of the card, man, there's not really much to talk about, to be honest with you, right?
I was just gonna skim through the rest of it. Yeah, we can cherry pick anything if you want to mention it.
All right.
Drake, JHK, and myself, we got that one right. Not bad return. Jared Gooden lost to Abu Bakr Nurmagomedov decision. Obviously, Habib was in the corner. Not too noteworthy or impressive performance, I thought. What did you make of Abu Bakr?
Well, this is the thing.
We all got it right, at least.
Yeah, of course. There's a reason why. This is the thing, right? Jared Gooden, like, he's a guy that, you know, has won on the regional scene. He's done great. And I felt like he should have stayed there a little bit longer and gained more experience to be able to fight with guys in the UFC. I think he just got signed a little too early, a little too premature. I know if you're a fighter, if they give you the call, you're going to take the fight. But I just felt like, you know, sometimes you need to have good management and say, like, we'll take the next round. You know what I mean? We'll wait for his chance, because sometimes you only get that one chance. And right now, Gooden is on a 2-fight losing streak, and it doesn't look good for him. He hasn't looked good. You know what I mean? His first fight was a brawl with what's his name? Who's that model that comes on the broadcast sometimes? I forgot his name. He's Filipino. I forgot his name. Anyways, he went in a brawl with him, lost that fight, and he comes in here and gets completely dominated by a wrestler, but in the striking. So I don't know, man. With Nurmagomedov, I don't know what you do with him. Like, he's a guy that's kind of like meddling at the bottom somewhere. A win over Gooden, it's a win, but, you know, look at his last 3: draw, loss, win. And I think this is the second win in a row. So where do you go from here? I have no idea. He's in the bantamweight division. Not bantamweight division. What is he? Lightweight? Welterweight. Okay, he's in the welterweight division. What do you do with a guy like that in the welterweight division? Like, you can't give him a rank guy. So I don't know. It's confusing what you're going to do with him, with that guy. But he got the juice. He got the name.
Indeed. What about this? Mikhail Alexichek beat Modestas Bukakas. A little bit controversial, this one. I think a lot of people had Modestas winning this, you know, but 29-28, I think, on all 3 scorecards. Wasn't a robbery. I think it was a split, right? So
yeah. It's not a controversial decision if you pick the right fighter.
Yeah.
Right. I'm just saying. But Leon, what do you think about these guys? Because I don't want to say their names because I might butcher them.
I was calling Modestas and Michael.
Yeah. We got the correct pronunciation given to us on the preview, Chris and I. It was Alexichuk, I think. Alexichuk. Ramsey's in the chat just asking, would you want to see Woodley v Wonderboy again? We did talk briefly about it earlier. I know you probably just joined in the chat. I think we all agreed we don't want to see that. I think John made a good point that Wonderboy should be... Oh, did we talk about that? No, we talked about Wonderboy. And yeah, what do you think, Leon?
Doesn't make sense, really, does it? I mean, it's their last fight. The first fight was amazing. The second fight was kind of the opposite. Woodley's lost 4 in a row. Wonderboy's on the verge of getting a title shot, really. So, I mean, it's not. It just doesn't make sense. And we don't know if Woodley wants to fight again. We don't know if Woodley's going to be given another fight in the UFC. And we know for a fact that Wonderboy wants either a title shot or a top contender, at the very least, a top 5 contender.
Well, I think Luque is the one who would press more for Wonderboy, wasn't he? We talked a little bit about that.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, but even that fight doesn't really make sense. The Wonderboy, that'd be like a step back for him. So, yeah, Wonderboy's in a good position right now. You know, he beat, who did he beat last time? He beat somebody.
Woodley, Wonderboy.
Yeah, Wonderboy.
Who did he beat? He beat the new guy.
Who did he beat after that?
No.
I know, but he beat someone since then.
The guy with the fun name. I know that's Chaos Williams. Yeah, I think.
No, man.
Did I get that right?
No, Chaos Williams is that fight. Wonderboy. Jeff Neal.
Fuck, I got that completely wrong. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who did Chaos fight?
Both of it with Luque and Neal.
Sorry, I got that completely wrong. Yeah. Oh, Jesus. Jeff Neal. Yeah. Hands of.
It's always
similar situation to Justin Gaethje. He's on the verge of a title shot.
Talking about? Sorry.
At the same time, he's out in the cold at the same time. So it's Wonderboy and
Gaethje.
Sorry,
my brain is not working.
But yeah. Anyways, like this
Jeff
fight
Neal.
with Bukauskas, like I thought it was like, I'm gonna be honest. I watched the first 2 rounds and I felt like Mikhail. Is that how you say his name? Michael.
Michael.
All right, Michael. Michael, I thought he was winning the fight. You know, I thought he was landing the harder shots in the first 2 rounds. The third round, I didn't get to watch. So I'm gonna be honest with you. So I don't know how the split decision came.
It was close. It was competitive.
Mm-hmm.
But
what about
Shane
Young? What about that one?
Yeah. I mean, there you go. Lepida Light just saying Bukauskas was running for 2 rounds. Scott Birmingham says Stipe was robbed early decision. I love the banter in the chat here. Yeah, Bukauskas, he maybe you could say he was running, but I don't think. Let's move on anyway. Yeah, let's go to Shane Young. There we go. I think we've said everything we can say about that fight. Shane Young, Omar Morales. Omar Morales gets the decision, and 4 of us picked him. Jasmine got it wrong.
Oh, Jasmine. Come on.
The Venezuelan. What's his nickname?
The Venezuelan Vixen?
That might be. No, that's thingy. Yeah.
That's a whole other fighter.
Yeah. I haven't got too much to say about this one. I think Shane Young looked a little disappointed. Has he got any case for that?
No, I don't think so. I think Omar won the fight. He squeaked by. You know, he did what he had to do. Shane Young looked like he was too tentative. He wasn't the same Shane Young. I feel like he felt the fire of possibly getting, his release papers if he loses, and he was playing cautious, and we never seen that from Shane Young. So Morales
he lost his last fight, didn't he? And he won his one before that in Australia.
Yeah, so and he doesn't fight that often too. So he
had a long layoff after he
won
Australia at 234.
So he's not really in a good position right now with this fight against Morales. Morales is, I think he had an off night, but even though he had an off night, he still won the fight, which is good for you, good for your confidence, right? Like you didn't perform very well, but you still won the fight against Shane Young. Shane Young just didn't show up like himself. So that's all I can get from this fight. I don't know what they do next with these guys, but I think Shane Young will get one more fight. I don't think they're going to cut him. I hope they don't. And Morales will probably get someone to step up in competition because he's beaten what? He's on a 2-fight win streak now, right? So they should give him someone decent. A guy like what is this? Is this featherweight? Yeah, so featherweight. There's a lot of guys he can fight. You know what I mean? At featherweight, we'll see what happens.
Morales looked flat and still won, says Lepido Light. Venezuelan Fighter is his nickname. The worst nickname ever. Okay, yeah, I thought it was something weird. Ramses has a couple of questions in there. I think we'll get to them. We're just going to finish the card, Ramses. We can chat a little about Stipe, where he goes. Thank you for joining and commenting, though. The opener, this was a wild one, wasn't it, guys? Marc-Andre Barrio beating Abu Azaitar. I think Ali was in Abu's corner. Is that right? We all got it wrong.
Yeah, everybody was wrong. Everybody should just hang their
Everybody got it
head.
wrong.
Everybody should just hang their head for the next 15 minutes in disappointment, because this fight was,
We messed up.
like, I thought this fight was going to be a complete brawl, but I felt like this dude Abu was going to have come in with a little bit more power, but he just gassed. You know, what is it? Marc-Andre, he just weathered the storm basically, and then took over in the middle of the second round. And yeah, it just shows you the toughness of Marc-Andrew. Man, I was wrong about this. My complete breakdown of this, I was wrong, and I thought Abu was gonna go in there and get a finish, you know, in a brawl. But man, that was a good fight. It was a great fight, and I don't know what you do with Abu, man. He's not a guy. He's like famous in his country, but he's not famous anywhere else. You know, did you know who he was before this card, Leon?
He was the guy with the potatoes in the bag, wasn't he?
No, that's his brother.
Brother.
That's his brother.
You see,
Yeah.
now people are getting mixed up. I think a lot of people got him mixed up with his brother, even on this card. People thought that he was fighting. Ottman was fighting, but Ottman is his brother, his little younger. I don't know if he's younger, but it's a smaller brother. You know, at
I
lightweight.
thought I didn't like him, but I thought, oh, Azatar, that's the potato man.
Yeah, that's what everybody thought, but it's not true. Maybe he was. I think he was there together because his brother was in the corner. His cornerman was like his brother, and Ali and somebody else. But yeah, he had this manager in his corner with his brother, and still not enough to get him.
Quick look at the leaderboard from this one. Scott Calvin came out on top. 9 wins, 1 losses in our SCMP MMA group on Fanatics. Great
Adam
job
Martin
to Scott.
killing it.
Adam Martin killed it. Yeah, 8-2 there. He got 820 versus Vegas. Ranimal, the man Ranimal, doing very well again. 7-3. I haven't actually seen how far down I am. I think probably pretty low. Tristan up there in 6th. If anyone watching you haven't joined, please join the group. Get involved. Get fanatics.app. You can download it. Should have the link scrolling on that yellow ticker, or I may have just switched it. I'll just change it.
Join the group, SCMP MMA. Join the group. Play. There's prizes. Someone won this month, right?
Yeah, we just finished this month. I'll show the monthly leaderboard. I'm just trying to see how low I finished on this. One Championship UK, 33rd. Good effort.
Also,
if you're
joining us right now, make sure you subscribe to this channel. We got a bunch of interviews coming up. Big interviews. UFC, PFL One Championship. We have a bunch that we just did in the past week, right? You actually interviewed Ngannou before the fight. There's interviews with there's interviews with who else did we do this week? A bunch of One Championship fighters, right? Christian Lee, Mengbo, Itsuki Hirata. Who else? We had the Luque interview before his fight.
Did you speak to Rug this week?
Rug, yeah, he's coming up.
I couldn't, but I heard it was chaos, man. I heard Andrew was telling me it was a chaotic interview. Yeah,
but just subscribe for the content, man. I have a weekly podcast that's on Wednesday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern. I bring in other journalists, so subscribe, man. Get down.
Yeah, as John says, head over to the channel. Not right now. Just stay with us while we do this, but like and subscribe if you haven't. Plenty of cool content on there. I think John's got a nice big interview as well with a huge UFC star as well next week, if I'm not mistaken. So let's do it. I came 40th, 6-4, not a terrible return. I finished in the green for once. That's always good. Normally I'm in the red. Here's the monthly leaderboard, though. Who came out on top? It was Ollie Rendell. Congratulations, Ollie. Picked 34 right this month, 24 wrong. He beat Vegas. Ranimal did very well as well. I don't want to... Oh, God, how low am I going to be here? Didn't have a great month. Did not. Oh, yeah, we're getting down into the real basement here, aren't we, guys? Jasmine 39th. Drake 40th. Tom Taylor 43rd. Not a bad return from him. Oh, I don't... JHK 55th. And you only just joined about a week ago. You finished way above me. I'm not very good at this game, am I? Yeah, I still can't see myself. Oh, dearie me. Let's just abandon it, maybe.
All right, get your questions in because we're going to go for what? Maybe 10 more minutes or something?
There you go, 116th. Yeah, get your questions in, like John says. Anything
Yeah.
you want to ask, let's do it.
Yeah.
Let us go for it.
We're gonna
We got
get
some
stay
time.
for 10 more minutes or so, or until you guys get get tired of asking questions. Let's get some questions up. Let's see what we got.
Yeah, someone was asking, I think Ramsey's, where does Stipe go from here? I think we talked about it briefly, but yeah, I think the consensus was take a bit of time off.
Good question.
Got to heal up.
He has the birth of his child coming up. I think he'll probably won't fight until that happens. Most likely he'll have the baby, and then we'll figure out what happens. I think he could sit back and wait to see what happens between John Jones and Francis if they fight, and then he fights the winner. I don't think he needs to fight to get back into title contention. I think if he could just chill out, train, get better, recover from the knockout, and come back to a title shot, I think that could happen. Even if John Jones is the title holder at that time. You know, if John Jones doesn't fight, Derek Lewis maybe jumps in against Stipe, or not Stipe, against Ngannou. They fight. Maybe Stipe fights the winner of that. Or maybe they rush Stipe to the trilogy if John Jones plays around too much. And then I don't think that that's a good idea. I think he should recover from the knockout. But you never know, man. Some of these fighters, they get offered a lot of money. They'll jump back in, especially for a title shot. So we'll see if what Stipe does, but I think he's smart enough to kind of chill out for a little bit.
I don't think he'll ever beat Francis now. I don't mean to be disrespectful because he's the heavyweight GOAT.
He already beat him! Leon, did you not know the fight that happened a few years ago?
I'm talking in the future, not in the past.
But we're going back to the future. Come on.
I'm talking about if Stipe is looking at his future, is he thinking, how is he going to beat Francis? Because Francis now, the size difference and Francis's knockout power and Francis's improved wrestling skills and ability to keep the feet on the feet. How does Stipe win the fight? I don't think
adjustment.
And he's only
he's much more
39. He's only going to get older. He's had knocked out again now. He took a lot of damage in his heavyweight days because he's fighting killers that generally are bigger than him. I don't know, and I don't be disrespectful because I think he's a great champion and I've got a huge amount of respect for Miocic, but I can't see how he beats Ngannou.
And I see how he beats him. He has a great team.
It's going to be more dramatic than Stipe's. If Stipe's, look at DC, he said himself, age is a real thing. He's got to about 40 and he said, I'm not the same fighter as a couple of years ago.
He's only been knocked out 3 times in his career. How do you only get knocked out 3 times and then people are questioning your chin?
Even when he fought Francis before, he didn't get knocked out, but he took some big blows. Even if you don't get knocked out, that isn't good for your longevity. When you take
that's only one fight though.
Like, I know, but 39, and I don't think he's ever going to beat Francis. Do you think he can?
Well, yes, he can. 100% he could come back and beat Francis. He already beat him one time. You know, even though Francis evolved.
A lot has changed since then.
I know a lot has changed, but don't you think Stipe could change too? He's changed and evolved to beat DC twice. He'll change and evolve to come back better than he was. His team is great and he's smart. You know what I mean? That's one thing about Stipe. He knows how to adjust in the middle of a fight when he's in trouble. And I think that could pay dividends in the rematch where Stipe will go in there, make the proper adjustments to the type of wrestling defense that Francis has. And then also he's going to get to see Francis go into other fights and he'll be able to study him in those fights. And then his coaches will come up with a game plan. He's going to follow that game plan. I think he'll do fine, man. I don't think you cannot shut the door on Stipe being able to beat Ngannou because he already beat Ngannou. You know what I mean? Like, come on, just because he knocked him out today. 2
years ago when Ngannou was a shadow of himself. Now, Miocic has improved a lot since then. Ngannou's improved massively. For 2 years, he wanted to fight all the time. So he's been training all the time without fights. And in that time, he's just worked on his wrestling, his ground game, and it's improved so much. And if you take into account as well, at least 30 pounds in size difference, that is huge. That is massive.
It is huge, but the thing is,
so the fact that he beat him 2 years ago, for me, is irrelevant.
The Stipe could come in much bigger next time. You know what I mean? He can make those adjustments. He's a guy that knows how to do that. I'm just telling you right now, like, you're not giving him enough credit. Yeah, he got knocked out today, but man, he's only been knocked out 3 times. There's guys out there. I've been
let
locked
me
out
read
of butt
some
crack.
comments as well, and then I'll throw it back to you guys. Just let everyone have their say as well. Adam H saying it's not a knock on Stipe, more of a commentary on how good Ngannou is. Lapido Light says LMAO, this dude ready to call Ngannou invincible now. Is that
And I have a question as well, which quickly. Is there a chance Miocic doesn't want to fight again? Is that a possibility? He's 39, he's got another kid on the way now. He has another full-time job outside of fighting, which is great, although if you're fighting...
It's not a full-time job, let's be real. He's there like once a week. Just
he's probably there a lot, but we all know firemen that they're heroes, but at the same time, they do about 20 minutes working. The rest of the time, they're playing in England. Most firemen spend most of the time playing snooker.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
but the thing is, like with him, I think when he's in camp, he doesn't really go to work that much. You know, I mean, he's focused on his camp.
Do you think there's a chance he won't want to fight again?
No, I think there's a chance of that too. That's something we haven't discussed. You know, that he could just hang him up now, and he'll still be the greatest heavyweight of this era, like better than Kane, like better than anybody of this era. Even though he lost his fight.
There's a bigger chance in the next 5 years, Ngannou will be the new heavyweight GOAT. I think that's a very strong possibility. Another thing I wanted to say, I forgot before, Ngannou's got that star power. If he wins 2 or 3 fights now, and with his power, he's got that X factor. And I wish Stipe had that a bit because, well, not only is Stipe the heavyweight GOAT, he's extremely funny, he's extremely likable, but he hasn't quite had that. The fans haven't quite caught on to that. He doesn't have the number of fans I think he deserves from a full package, not just his fighting perspective. If that makes sense.
I agree, and I think Francis could be a huge star now. That was a star-making performance.
Now he's got takedown defense. Did he cut? He weighed 263 when he weighed in. Did he cut weight? He might have been above that on fight night. We don't know. He might be more than 30 pounds, but not only the 30 pounds, but he's shredded. And he's a freak athlete. It's like don't normally quote Joe Rogan, but he's like a welterweight, but just a bit bigger. Most heavyweights don't. Cyril Kane's a little bit of a section as well, but it's not often you get someone as big as Ngannou, as stacked as he is.
I think we should pump the brakes on this overhyping stuff right now, right? Because he's beat Stipe. He just became champion, right? Like, it's not like he's defended the title yet. Derek Lewis can go in there and knock out Francis Ngannou. We know that can happen easily. You know what I mean? It does not matter. It only takes one punch. When those guys face off, if they do one punch, Derek Lewis one punch. You've seen what he did to Curtis Blades. He knocked out Curtis Blades worse than Francis Ngannou did. Like, worse, right? So think about that. Yeah, Let that melt your brain a little bit, Leon.
But that's a very good point, actually. Derek, realistically as well, exactly what you just said. Realistically, we could go from scariest looking heavyweight ever, probably, to Derek Lewis being the next heavyweight champion in 6 months. That's a possibility. Lewis could go in and knock him out. And then suddenly Derek Lewis, this guy who doesn't look the part like Ngannou does, the guy comes more from the big country physique, he could be the UFC heavyweight champion in 6 months.
Leon, so you're going to be in 6 months when Derek Lewis wins the title, you're going to say the same exact things you just said about Francis, about Derek Lewis?
No, but I think both are realistic. But I do think Ngannou could go on to, if he beats Lewis, and he's got to beat Jones well, but I think it's a chance. The way he's ran through the division, and his only blip came against Stipe the first time. He's ran that back. He's learned all the lessons. He's put that in the past. And Derek Lewis, and win or lose, that next Derek Lewis fight is going to be fun. There's no way both of them are going to go in that fight and just are scared again. Their pride, their egos won't let that happen again. So that's going to be a huge fight. Not as big as John Jones, but that will be big. I hope people realise that won't be a bore fest again. That will be, well, I'll say that. I've probably jinxed it now.
Yes.
Yeah, man. Absolutely. Remember everyone to... Sorry, go ahead.
Subscribe
like and subscribe. Yes, if you haven't already. A lot of people watching here. Welcome. If you haven't seen us before, like and subscribe. All that. And Ganu beats Lewis, but wow, it'd be fun, says Ethan. Lewis already beat Ngannou, points out Lapita Light. But yeah, that was a real weird matchup. I don't know what happened to Francis there. He kind of froze, didn't he, guys?
They both did. They're both. I mean, Ngannou was coming off his first loss, wasn't he, to Miocic, and just was a shell of himself. Lewis.
They were playing a game.
Lewis really
They were
needed
playing
a
a game.
What about Lesnar v Francis? I don't think Brock Lesnar's coming back.
Nah, there's too many heavyweights that would just crush Brock Lesnar now. It's sad. Like back then, yes, he came in because he knew he could beat most of the guys, but now it's just if he came in, he'd just be going through wrecking ball after wrecking ball. It'd just be sad to see.
Yeah, and without the juice as well.
Yeah,
Sada's a little tight these days. I don't know. He did test positive before the Mark Hunt fight.
Yeah.
Whatever happened? Did they ever follow that up?
No, they don't care about that.
Okay.
Well, not Mark Hunt. He's still going on about it. I think he lost initially, didn't he? But I don't think he wanted. I don't think he had any plans of stopping in his pursuit to take action.
Tyson Fury versus Francis Ngannou. I think Tyson Fury's busy with Anthony Joshua. Have they announced that fight?
No. How about OJ Simpson versus Francis Ngannou? Wouldn't that be a hell of a fight? Come on, what are you guys talking about? Come on, guys.
First time watching, guys. Cheers, Ethan.
Ethan,
you're
appreciate
enjoying
you,
it.
man.
Like and subscribe, Ethan. Tell your friends. SCMP MMA. Mark Hunt lost in court. Points out Adam H. Yeah, was that about Lesnar or just about the? I can't remember.
He made a quite good point, didn't he? He said if someone gets caught, like Lesnar did, if someone's tested positive, they should lose their prize money, and that's not necessarily to the opponent, but
it should be a heavy fine, though. It should be like 80%.
Or 100%. I don't think. I think maybe.
No, I don't think you should take everything from them, but I still.
Why not? They decided to cheat.
Because there will be court fees and everything that they have to pay, so they'll lose 100% of it. It's just
the other thing as well. There's always that grey area of tainted supplements. And
exactly. What if you take all that money from them, but then later you found out it was a tainted supplement? What do you do with the money that the other guy took and already spent?
I always think that about the death penalty in America. You find out a few years later, someone comes, actually, I didn't kill him.
Yeah, and he was convinced to confess to the murder, but he really never did the murder. Right? It's happened a lot of times. You could go down a YouTube rabbit hole on that.
I don't think you should be lenient. When people go, "Oh, life ban's too much," no, it's not, because maybe for the first time, maybe 4 years first time, life ban's because. If you cheat, especially if you know the risks and you still decide to cheat, it's on your head. You've got no one else to blame.
Yeah, they should have a 3 strikes you're out type thing. You know what I mean?
You shouldn't deserve 3. 1, fixed a long-term ban between 2 and 4 years.
No, the reason why I say 3 is because the first offense, you get a decent penalty, like a 2-year penalty, right? Like Dillashaw got. But then the second offense, you're going to get a 5 to 7 year penalty, right? Once you lose 9 years of your life, of your career, you're pretty much done, right? There's not really coming back for a third one.
Second time.
Huh?
Just say second time ban for life.
Dang, Leon, why are you so harsh today?
Well, because we know if the rules are if you're not allowed to do drugs, then there should be things that there should what's the word?
Penalties?
No, to stop you wanting to cheat, to stop you taking the risk.
Oh, repercussions.
Repercussions, yeah. There should be there should
The thing is, Leon, would you cheat? Would you cheat if you're an athlete?
I'd cheat in anything apart from outside of sport. I'll cheat anything.
Well, you cheat underwear. We know that.
Sport's honourable. You can't cheat in sport. No, but the point is though, if the punishment isn't severe enough, then it's not deterrent. That's the word I was thinking of. A big punishment means more deterrent. Determined.
Yeah.
I forgot.
This guy's forgetting words now.
Can't speak today.
I'm not very good at words. But yeah, you need big punishments to stop it. It's risk versus reward. If the risk isn't that great and the reward is big, then there's always going to be a temptation.
What if you had your country, Cambodia, have like a USADA lab and they created some steroids for you to use, and you'll never get caught because it's so advanced? Like, don't you think that would be really tempting for an athlete, right? Because they were doing it in China and Russia. You know, there's proof of that. So
of course, and I guess as well, you see it again. You don't want to stereotype countries, but you see it in football. The South American teams tend to cheat more, and you see it. I'm just being honest.
I knew it was going to be some bullshit.
It's true. And the poorer the country, the more desperation there is, the more willing you are to take the risk of cheating. We've seen as well, teams like Colombia, players have come back to the country after making a mistake in a World Cup and being killed. Now, if you live in a country like that and you come from poverty in that, there's a lot greater chance you're going to take a risk to cheat. So there are certain circumstances.
Just about.
Well, what about the team in Cambodia that you're working with?
There's a question here. What about the thoughts on Usman Masvidal 2 from Ramses? That is the next pay-per-view, guys. Fans are going to be back. Jacksonville, 15,000 people. ViStar Veterans Memorial Arena.
Don't like it.
Oh, why not? Why not have the fight? You know what I mean? Like,
Stupid.
who is the clear-cut number one contender in the welterweight division? There is not.
It makes sense from a business point of view, so that's fair enough. But from a legitimacy point of view, it doesn't. Masvidal hasn't fought since he got. I know he took on late notice. Since he lost 50-43 on all the fight cards, to get an immediate rematch is just silly. It is silly. When Colby Covington's a lot more deserving of a title fight. Leon Edwards, he's more deserving of a title fight. Wonder Boy could do with one more win, but Usman hasn't fought him, so he's got that on his side. The good thing about it is it's soon, so it's not going to hold up the division that much, hopefully. Again, I'm a big Masvidal fan, but Usman's just going to use his wrestling again for 5 rounds and his toe stomps. And just
he says he's going for the knockout. He's going for the finish.
Yeah, I think he's going to go for the finish.
A lot of people say that.
But a lot of people are counting out Masvidal in this fight, right? And I don't think you should count out Masvidal, even though I'm going to pick Usman to win, because I think Usman's probably one of the greatest fighters at this moment right now, just complete and just getting better. But yeah, I don't think he's going to use his wrestling as much because he knows he can dominate the wrestling. So he's going to go out there and test the striking.
Ground and pound. Get the fight to the ground when Masvidal's outside of his comfort zone and less dangerous, and then go for a Habib-style aggressive mauling on the ground. That way it sends a message and it's more in his safety zone, because he's not going to want to lose to Masvidal after the bad blood. He's not going to want to take any risks. He's not that confident in himself, I think, that he's going to want to beat Masvidal.
Dang, how do you know his confidence level?
Of course he's confident. He's the world champion.
He just smashed him for 5 rounds. Like, I think that he could beat him pretty much anywhere. He has more paths to victory than Masvidal does, right? So I think you'll see Usman go in there and take chances on the feet and see if he can knock him out on the feet. If he can't, he's going to dump him on his back and pound his face in. But with Street Jesus, though, on the other side, he has to take those moments where Masvidal is going to be vulnerable and capitalize. If he does not, that fight's just going to go the same way it did before, with just a little bit more stand-up exchanges, sprinkled in between. So I think that this is a great move for Usman. Usman knows he can beat him. He knows the ways he can beat him, and he can add some ways to beat him. You know what I mean? And he's going to get paid much more than like fighting, let's say, what is it, Wonderboard, because it's a pay-per-view, right? Pay-per-view main event. He's going to get pay-per-view points, and Masvidal brings big pay-per-view numbers, so might as well fight Masvidal now, so you don't have to fight him later. Make as much money now, and even if you lose, you're going to get the rematch. The
I agree with-
trilogy's
I
there.
It's a good business decision, but from a point of view from the sport of MMA, it's the wrong decision to make that fight. From the legitimacy point of view.
Leon is on a roll today.
I swear I got dropped in my head when I was younger. In fact,
Yeah.
I did actually. Twice.
I'm not surprised.
I cracked my skull and broke my collarbone by
Wow.
my mum being a silly little mummy.
Okay.
What did you do?
I'll quickly tell the story. When I was about 6 months old, my mum put me in a clothes washing up bowl on the work surface of the kitchen. I rocked myself off, cracked my skull on the floor. The bucket thing landed on my head, and Mum goes, "Oh, where's Leon gone?" And then 6 months later, she puts me on the top bunk bed, while she's folding clothes. I fall off and crack my collarbone.
Jesus.
So before, by the time I'm a year old, I've had 2 visits to the casualty.
Yeah.
Mother
like
Jennings got
You're
a.
like Edward
do a bit
Scissorhands.
If that happened today, my mum, I'd be in care.
Yeah. I think it explains a lot of things about Leon, doesn't it, John?
Yeah,
I
it
think
does.
it does.
Definitely.
Things are
or the
also
classic
clear
fight.
now, says Adam and Creed. Yeah. Usman, the most dominant champion in UFC right now, asks Ethan, since Habib retired. I agree with that. Yes, I think.
I don't know. Izzy's up there too. You know what I mean? It's hard to say. There's a few guys that are very great champions in their division. Yeah,
Sterling.
Izzy's there. You got
Sterling?
Man,
shit.
that is turning into what I
Mr.
never
Milk.
thought
what
it would
anyone
turn
says.
into.
I don't care what anyone says, he milked it. I don't care what anyone says, he milked it.
He's
I don't
milking it
care.
now because it's funny. But
How big was the cow?
Did you hear what his interview afterwards about all the things that was going through his head when he was in the octagon? You don't think like that when you're concussed. You don't think, well, if this happens, that will happen. And you don't act like that when you're knocked out. I don't care what you say. He milked it.
And now
on the other hand-
is he
on the
showing
other
too much now?
What's that?
Is he showing too much now, talking about it like openly and saying like,
in his defense, he's the champion. It's not his fault that he took the knee. Jan only has himself to blame. So you shouldn't be sympathetic to Jan. I think Sterling milked it, but Sterling was put in a situation out of his control, which wasn't ideal, because I think any decision he makes then, he's going to come out of it not looking good. If he'd done the Anthony Smith, he'd get criticised. If he felt fine and carried on and he lost, he would have got criticised. If he milks it and takes the win, he gets criticised. So it wasn't a bad situation that he didn't put himself in. But he still milked it.
yeah, Amanda Nunes, Lapita Light points out, probably we didn't respect her enough that she's the most dominant champion in the UFC by far.
We completely forgot about older women. Valentina.
Valentina, yeah. There you go. Very fair point there from.
but the
Lapita
thing
Light.
is, the thing about it is like Amanda is just so far ahead of the pack that it's almost unfair in many ways, right?
I'd
That's
put
what it seems
Valentina
like.
on equal with her, I personally would. Because of their head-to-head record, considering Valentino's smaller, and the fact that, yeah, Amanda's a double champion, but apart from Chris Cyborg, there hasn't she's a champion of a division that doesn't really exist to a certain extent. She's a 2-division champion in part because Cyborg joined the UFC at one point.
Leon, would you ever consider, like, let's say you have someone like Amanda Nunes, where she's big, she's powerful, she can fight at 145, 135. Would you ever like support the idea of her actually fighting another a man in the UFC?
Okay, stop.
I'd like to see it.
Who would be
You're poking the bear
I
now.
say that because I respect Amanda Nunes' skill. I wouldn't want to see it if I thought Amanda Nunes would get. I wouldn't want to see her fight Alex Volkanovski, for example.
Oh no, yeah.
But if there was a man and it'd be competitive, I'd see it. And we live in a world where equal opportunities and, I know there's physical differences, but Amanda Nunes would chew me up, would beat me up with her little finger. So, my God.
Thoughts on Zazaki
Would
says
you
you'd
want
have
to?
to
John, would you want to see
flyweight.
it? Would you want to see a fight a man?
Me?
Yeah.
No, I don't want to see that. I don't want to see that. I think there's reasons for weight classes. There's reasons, gender separate fighting. Just make it equal. We don't need to cross the line because we just don't need to. You know what I mean? Like you're the best in what you do. It's like any other sport. Like some sports they do play each other, but you don't see like the NBA. The men playing the women. You don't see it in other sports really. Do you see it do you really see it in other sports? Once in a while you
Tennis.
see it, but it's like exhibition,
Mixed
right?
doubles tennis.
Yeah, but that's tennis. Like that's like sports
Right.
nobody
There's
watches.
nothing wrong with tennis.
There's nothing wrong with tennis. Yeah.
I know you mean you're getting punched in the face a little bit different, but
Yeah.
Amanda Nunes would beat most men on the planet up.
Yeah, she would.
Weigh the same as her.
But there's
it's
a lot of men on the planet that think that they could beat up female fighters.
Yeah,
There's a lot. Have you talked to some of these guys? They think that they could beat. They have not even guys that I know that have trained before. They're like, oh, I think I could take. I think Cyborg's the only one that I couldn't beat up. There's guys that have said that to me in like just in conversation, and I'm just like, what? And then there's some guys that never trained ever, and they think that they beat up one guy in like high school in a street fight, and they could go beat up female fighters. And I'm like, dude, those girls would choke you in an instant, and then they'll beat your head in, and then you'll be just as bad as Leon.
Give her someone like that, some doofus who thinks he'd kill Amanda Nunes, and let her beat the hell out of him.
Yeah, didn't someone do that in tennis, Leon? Some guy
Billie Jean
challenged.
King in the 70s. I can't remember his name. There's a film about it, The Battle of the Sexes.
Yeah.
It's a good film.
Who? It's what it was.
Billie Jean King.
Oh my God. I can't
he
watch
he was a professional tennis player, but not like a top player. And he was about, I think he was in his 40s at the time.
Yo, tennis is like I don't know. I'm not really big on tennis because it's like ping pong on the floor. You know what I mean? And I'm good at ping pong. You know what I mean? Like I don't have to practice too much for ping pong. Just put ping pong on the floor. You got tennis. Come on, Leon. Let's
someone asked. This is a good question, actually. I can't remember who was asking. Just thoughts on Miocic Tate returning to UFC. I know you've already talked about John on your show this week, but Leon, what are your thoughts?
I want to ask Leon a question. Is Tate still working under contract with One Championship?
She was. I think she said this week, though, that she's kind of given a 30-day notice in. And obviously, I know it sounds silly as a vice president, but I think she's going to keep.
She's like, oh, by the way, I'm gonna be taking this other job that everybody knows about already. Like she announced it and everything, and then I'm not gonna be working for you guys anymore. I'm gonna put my 30-day notice in. It's like
I think that Chad just told Nick though, she's not going to be with the company, but the door will be open for her if after she stops fighting again, if she wants to come back and be part of the promotion.
I'm gonna make a wild prediction and say that she never goes back to One Championship. I'm just saying, like, this is the honest truth for me. I don't think she ever goes back to Singapore. I don't think she goes back to One Championship unless they make some huge office in Las Vegas. Maybe that's why, it could be possible, but I don't see her leaving the US anytime soon. She has kids, man. Like she has 2 kids. She has a man, they want to stay in the most comfortable, spot, which is Las Vegas, wherever in the US somewhere. So I can
see her fighting in one and flying out. If the UFC comeback doesn't really, she wants to win the title. I don't think she's going to win a title. Yeah, Chatri, I spoke to him and he said, "We'll build a division if we have to." Right? He would do that.
God. Yeah, I guess, but I don't know if Miocic Tate is like someone that you could build a division around, especially in Asia.
She's a pretty big draw though for the US.
In Asia,
trying to break into the US market. No, this is the whole thing. They're trying to get a deal with TNT, a permanent deal. Miocic Tate, as we've seen this week, there's still a lot of intrigue.
But he's gonna have to wait like a year or two because she has like a 4-fight or 5-fight deal, 5 fights left on her deal or something like that already, from what I heard. So that takes a little bit of time, man. Maybe that's the plan. Maybe we found out the plan is that she's gonna go fight out her contract with the UFC and do as best as she can. And maybe if she wins the title, great. If she doesn't, she fights out her contract. She gets, she's a free agent. One championship comes in and says, all right, we're gonna, you come fight for us. We're gonna build a division around you. And next, she's doing ads for TNT on TNT, right? It could be she's gonna have a TV show. TNT's gonna build her. Who knows, man? Maybe that's the plan. Maybe they were doing that. They were formulating this the whole time in Singapore. We didn't even know that was happening. She was just there, and that's gonna, man. If that actually happens, you guys both have to pay me $1,000 each. I'm just gonna say
I think she wants to do this, man, but I don't think she's gonna win the title again.
The odds are stacked against her. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
The thing is,
so why not?
If it wasn't for COVID, she'd still probably be living in Singapore. She was really happy there, but then once COVID came, she just got stuck in this tiny, tiny country, and you're away from your family. You can't travel and everything. I think that's obviously when she decided to move back, and then she started training obviously more intensely in Vegas, and now she's coming back. She talks about coming back. She talks about coming back for grappling matches, and then obviously got the bug and thought, you know what, I'm gonna compete in MMA.
Yeah, I think we were talking to her, weren't we, John? We interviewed her together
in December. I watched that interview. Yeah. Like when she announced the comeback, I went back and watched her interview from December, and she was talking
like
about
alien. Or you did,
because the echo. But when I was watching it, I just remember that she was talking about she's training and she's trained to compete. She was gonna try to grapple Cyborg, and so you knew in December she was training with the pros, like it was at least wrestling and jiu-jitsu. So it seemed like she was ready to make a comeback. We just didn't hear it officially from her. And then you saw all the pictures come up, and other fighters were posting like, "Oh, guess who's back?" Right, stuff like that. Like inferring that she's gonna come back then in December. So, I believe this was in the works the whole time. I don't think that it just happened like one time she woke up. I think
Chatrick told me. I think that she came to him months ago about it. So I think she did know what she was doing. Yeah, and he was
check out that. Go check out that interview Nick did with Chatri, exclusive. He spoke to him for like 3 hours. No, I'm just kidding. 30 minutes. That's still like 3 hours.
30 minutes. Yeah, it was a fun interview.
Yeah, so like all the information's there. Nick is grilling them, they're best friends, so it's all good.
Kissing his ass, more.
He was buttering him up, fluffing him up.
Yeah, I think they're still close though. That's what I got from the interview. Chachi and Miocic. There's no bad blood, no beef, and I could see them working together in some capacity again in the future.
But you never know. Because it's all your face out there. It's all PR. You never know what happens. So we'll see. You know what I mean? But he's very supportive. That's great to see that he's supportive. And we'll see what Miocic Tate can do, man. If she doesn't win her fight against Marion Renault, then I don't see her doing anything in the UFC, man. It's gonna be hard for her, man. She's got time against her.
Yeah, and if you can't beat Marion Renault, definitely not gonna get a title shot, are you?
Yeah. If they do, then I talked about this on my show that if Miocic Tate beats Marion Renault, I could see Miocic Tate just jumping up to featherweight and getting a title shot immediately against Amanda Nunes. You know why? Because they've done that before with other fighters. With Holly Holm, they did it with her. And Miocic Tate's a big enough name, and it's a rematch where they can sell it as some kind of pay-per-view co-main event or something, right? So it could happen. That's what I see happening if she beats Marion Renault. Who knows? Who knows? You know what I mean? I've been dropped on my head too sometimes. So we'll see what happens.
Quickly, yeah.
Actually, one thing, going back to the cross-gender thing, Craig Jones is fighting Gabby Garcia, isn't he, in a BJJ matchup?
Yeah, but that's BJJ, and that might not happen. Who knows?
Yeah, I think we talked about Woodley already. At length, so I don't want to go too much into it, but I think we all said doesn't have to be done, and he's got a few options there if he wants to be done. If the money was right, do you think Ronda would come back to challenge Nunes? No, I do not, Ramses. And I think Dana ruled it out pretty explicitly, didn't he, guys, this week?
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
so.
I don't see it happening. That was so one-sided. If Tate wins her return, have Home v Tate 2 5 rounds for a fight night. Yeah.
Oh no, man, come on. We don't need to see that.
Well,
You
who's
know,
Holly
you don't
Holm
want
gonna fight now, man? That's
GDR, the rematch.
yeah.
Gee,
I
I'll
could see
turn
that
it down,
happening.
apparently.
Yeah. But
Early
you
this year.
remember that first fight though? She had
Yeah.
like two times where
After the
she
bell.
hit her after the
After the
bell.
bell.
That was a close fight too, man. If she was penalized, Holm could have won that fight.
Well, that was a controversial
Yeah.
decision,
Yeah.
wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
People
So
thought
I think
won.
I
Even
think
without
they're
it.
in that division at 135. The two best fighters underneath Nunez is Holm and GDR, right? And then they're really far behind her, anyways. And that leaves the rest of the pack, which is even more, more distant from Amanda Nunez. So, it's the best thing to do is have them both fight each other, and then whoever wins gets the next title shot, a rematch against Amanda Nunez. And if that happens first, that happens first. And see what happens with Miocic Tate. Miocic Tate could go out there and promote anything. So let's see what she can do.
Dutch. Should John Jones go back down to light heavyweight? No, he's put on all this muscle. Yeah, we chatted a little bit about this already. If you were him, you would run from Ngannou. He's actually gone off on more tweets, guys, since we last spoke about it.
All right, let's put those up. Let's see
Yeah, there we go. We can bring this into it.
Yeah.
He's having the obligatory John Jones post pay-per-view. Wouldn't call it a meltdown, but what do you call it? It's always pretty busy, isn't he? After
It's called.
Why does he care what the fans think?
It's fancy. It's called Fancy Fingers.
Fancy Fingers. I've been fighting my whole adult life. This shit doesn't feel right when you feel undervalued. It's not an issue of wanting to fight. It's an issue of wanting to be paid better. To make that clear, I'm glad some of you agree with me. It's my brothers with football. Once they got their Super Bowl rings, they went after the money contracts. I'm already widely considered the best by millions around the world. Fighting France is without securing the bag. I think he means fighting Francis. Maybe in France, I don't know. I really don't see that much more upside. I'm already on top. All this lifting to walk around feeling sexy as... Yeah, he's not going back to 205, basically. He's definitely going to fight in heavyweight division, so whether it's Francis, who knows, guys? We already had a chat, though. Ethan has seen the tweets.
If I was in like Jan Blachowicz like if I was his friend, I would steal his phone and then retweet where it says, like why would I go back to 205 or whatever, and I would retweet and say, Bones is scared to go back to 205. Throw a little spice in there. Jan needs a little bit of spice, right? Why don't you throw that in there? Even though he has the Glover fight, he still has a little bit of connection to John Jones. He was gonna fight him. Come on, take advantage of the situation. Leon, wouldn't you, if you're a manager, right? Would you add a little bit of spice, throw in there, throw in a little
Well,
quiz
if I
over
was a
here?
well-known manager and I tweeted regularly on behalf of my fighters.
Yes.
I can't think of any managers that do that.
So,
Adam, off topic, but are you doing 1 times SCMP shows leading up to TNT cards? No, we don't actually have a deal anymore with one. It just kind of quietly expired. We had a deal where we were doing these shows where we'd get 1 championship fighters on. John did the shows with me, have 4, 5, 6 fighters live. Fans could interact with them. I've kind of tried to ask them if they want to do them still and renew this deal or get a new deal, but been met with silence. So for now, for me, it's too much effort. Yeah, to actually do these things. It takes hours.
it was 4-hour shows. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it wasn't
4 hours,
easy to do. It wasn't easy to do. It's easy to do for the other people because they only come on for 20 minutes. But for us, it was a long show to do. So,
Yeah.
if we do them again, I don't mind. I like doing them because why? It's live and the fans can watch and then they could ask questions, and that always makes, there's certain questions that fans ask that you never even thought of, which is interesting, right? And the fighters get to answer those questions. So hopefully we do it again. If we don't, we don't. It is what it is, right?
Yeah. We'll see.
Chris always asks great questions.
Yeah, where is Chris today?
Yeah.
He says he's
We're
busy
talking about
cooking
He's
roast
cooking a
tuna.
roast. He's cooking a roast.
Boo.
Tally-ho. Do
Terrible.
people in English really say that?
Tally ho.
Tally-ho.
Yeah, tally-ho.
Maybe Leo.
Posh people, they do.
Yeah, crumpets.
So you're talking a bit like an English posh person.
You see, I'm good at it.
You know, I don't really sound posh in any shape.
I know you
form.
guys don't, but I gotta bring the posh to this podcast.
Someone's got to.
Yeah, it's
Certainly not me.
Tally-ho.
Well, people were split on Francis and John. MMA DJ says Francis will be faster. I predict KO round 1. AT says Francis the heavyweight GOAT. I actually think Jones can defeat Francis, says Dutch. It seems like people want to see this match, guys. So yeah.
Oh, people want to see it, man. That's why John Jones is like, he's not worried because people want to see it, and he knows he's the A side. I've been telling you guys for 3 hours now. I feel like a broken machine right now. Right? Jones is gonna tweet, and he's gonna tweet some wild things. Hopefully, he doesn't tweet anything like Israel Adesanya did and get himself in trouble. Now, what about that BMW? He had a BMW deal signed, sealed, and delivered, and then because of that tweet, the deal was broken
can I give
off.
honest opinion on this?
Yeah, Leon, we always want your honest opinion. What, you been lying to us the whole time?
What a joke. What kind of world are you living in? Someone makes a little joke like fighting.
Wait, what did you
talk.
say? I missed the whole thing just
I'm
before
gonna
you
rape
stopped.
you.
To
He
John
said-
Jones.
Yeah. No, he said it to Kevin Holland.
Izzy said to
Okay.
Kevin Holland, I'm going to rape you.
Yes.
Okay.
And people have
Sorry,
gone
go ahead,
crazy
Leon.
about it.
Yeah. Well, that's a sensitive topic, Leon. Come on,
I
you got to
know
be
it is,
sensitive
but he's
about it.
not really going to do it. He didn't say, I'm going to rape you because I agree with raping. He didn't say that. It's like fighting talk. Like people say, I'm going to kill you. That's not a nice thing. That's illegal. But people say it all the time.
Yeah, but
And
nowadays
it's-
you got to be
and
careful,
it's like
man.
not serious. It's not.
You gotta be careful.
It's not serious about raping. It's like
The
what
prime
kind of world do you live in now? You can't say
out.
anything.
The prime minister of the country came out and talked about it. That's how serious they took that
I know,
tweet.
what a joke. That's because we live in a world full of snowflakes.
Oh my God, you're like Kobe Covington.
We do though. It's like Ricky Gervais says, like about people being offended. I almost forgot that word then. Offended. It's like people think when they're offended, that means they're right. No, you could be offended about anything. Doesn't mean you're right. And like when it comes to jokes, you should better joke about anything. It doesn't mean if you joke about rape, doesn't mean you agree with raping. It's like you should be able to joke about anything in the world, no matter how serious.
Ricky Gervais is the poor man's Michael Scott. You know that, right?
Michael Scott, he's the manager, the boss, isn't he, in the American Office?
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's the character. Ricky Gervais is the real person.
I know, but he's a character too.
Have you seen the English version with David Brent?
Yeah, it's worse.
Worse.
Yes,
It's
I
original.
hated it. It was just terrible.
It's because you're kind of American. It's like you spend a lot of time in America. It's like Americans don't really get English sense of humor so much.
No, I do. I watch all the other shows from England, from the
Did
UK.
you watch the American one first?
No, I think I watched both of them at the same time. I was watching them both, and I was
Because I
like,
love
"What
both.
is this idiot doing?" Like,
I love both. I
Not even
don't know how
funny.
you can't. It's the English. They're both. It's that cringing comedy, which is just brilliant. I think.
I
think
like the show, The It Crowd. That was a phenomenal show. I enjoyed it. That's from the UK. In Betweeners. Have you seen that show?
brilliant.
That's a phenomenal show. There's a bunch of shows that I watch from the UK. I love UK dramas and movies and stuff like that. And the humor
You love
too
The
is
Crown,
good.
don't you, John?
Yeah, I like The Crown. I watched all episodes of The
That's
Crown.
not
I
comedy.
enjoyed it. I know, but I'm saying but I've watched comedies though. You know what I mean? Like, but The Office, I don't know. I just don't like it. I don't like a lot of American humor either. I think a lot of the American humor is stupid. But I'm not a big fan of Joe Rogan's comedy, like his stand-up comedy. Like, I think it's terrible. Like, but he has like millions of fans that love his comedy. And
I've
I think
never heard
most
him
of the
say
guys are
anything
not
funny.
funny.
Joe
Huh?
Rogan. I've never heard Joe Rogan say anything funny, ever.
I didn't
he's
know
a
he was a
comedian.
comedian. I didn't even know that for ages because I've never seen him make a joke.
Hard.
Yeah,
Because he was a podcaster slash what is it? Commentary. Is that what you guys thought he was?
yeah.
Oh, okay. I can see that because if you're not like following the American like entertainment scene or whatever, then you probably don't know who Joe Rogan is, except for
He just doesn't
that he's a
seem funny
commentator.
to me. He seems
He's
really
not funny. I don't understand like
Not
why
in a bad
people
way, just-
enjoy his comedy. Like I don't know
If
why.
you're not a snowflake, check out Jimmy Carr. For me, he's the greatest stand-up comedian ever, and he's just relentless, and he's so clever, and it's all quite near the line of going over the line, but brilliant. Give him a try, John.
There's a lot
Jimmy
of good
Carr.
comedians and a lot of terrible comedians, but yeah. But one thing we know is that the British version of The Office is shit.
Oh, watch out!
All right, come on, guys, bring in some questions. You know, we need something. Like, what do you guys
there
want to talk about?
I'll tell you what I've been watching recently. I've been going through all of them, up to 6 series. Married with Children. Classic.
That's perfect for you. You're Al Bundy like to the flesh right there.
That is, for me, perfect comedy. It's just, every line is just brilliant. It's so
it's like
cleverly
misogynist comedy from the 80s. No, my dad used to watch it all the time, so I've seen almost every
I watched
episode.
it a little bit when I was young, the odd episode, but now I'm going through every single episode.
It's funny still.
Series. Brilliant.
When he's at the shoe store, that's the best. Like when he's just making fun of the ladies, it's so funny. Yeah, it's a good show. What else we got here?
I think there's no more questions, but
yeah, now we're going into comedy and
yeah.
What are you, hey guys in the chat? What are you guys' suggestions on Netflix? Like Netflix, what are you guys watching? Let us know. You know what I mean? You guys could give us some suggestions. We'll watch it. Maybe we'll, give us some suggestions. Like any shows. Maybe you're gonna watch some. What are you guys watching?
My account is on hold. I haven't paid my bill this month, so I need to sort that out. So I haven't been watching it for ages. Actually.
He's in Netflix jail. He's in
Netflix
jail.
I have a Cody box.
A Cody box.
Yeah. It gets you
everything.
everything.
Box, you get every single channel, every single program ever made. You get everything on there.
Now we have a.
Did you buy it in Cambodia?
Yeah.
I never heard of that.
Do you think Khabib is done for good? As we've seen, GSP has come back. Cejudo wants to come back. I was actually just thinking about this today. I could potentially see him coming back, but not for 2 years.
Not for
or
a while.
Like that.
Yeah, not for a while. Like somebody has to become a massive star, like to say, like, oh, Khabib wouldn't beat this guy. We got to get to that point, right? To where it's like Khabib wouldn't beat this guy. This guy would give Khabib like major problems in the lightweight division. We have to have that guy, right? Until we get that guy, we're not going to see Khabib come back, I don't think. I think Khabib comes back for the challenge, for the glory. He's not going to come back for the money. He's already rich. Those guys in like Dagestan and Russia, you never ever see them getting in like contract negotiations, none of that stuff, because money is not really the number one factor in them competing, right? Of course they want money, but it's not, man. It's like a lifestyle for them. And from a lot of the guys that I met there from there and talked to them, even guys coming up, you know what I mean? Like they're not in the position of Khabib. They're still the same mentality. So yeah, I don't see him coming back unless they have some big like opportunity for Khabib.
And even then, he said he really doesn't want to fight for his mum because his mum hates it. So would he ever come back with his mum hating it that much? The fact he doesn't want to go for 13-0 now.
Children in the background again.
What's that?
I can hear little children in the background of Leon.
It's not me now. There's no kid in the background now.
I can hear kids yelling.
Yeah.
Not quiet. My end.
All right. Sorry, I interrupted you there, Leon.
Leon doesn't care.
So yeah, in fact, he isn't going for 30-0 now because of his mum. Tells you how much his mum means to him. Because he could have just thought, "Come on, mum, one more fight. I'll finish on 30-0." It was Dad's wish. I'll do one more, but he hasn't. He's decided not to do that. And it'd be easier for him to go 30-0 now than it's going to be in 2 or 3 years' time, because he would have had the break. Other fighters are going to evolve and improve.
A lot of people are picking Oliveira to take out Chandler. I'm kind of leaning towards Chandler in that fight, even though Oliveira has been really, really oppressive. But man, I feel like Michael Chandler, he proved in that Dan Hooker fight that the moment, the octagon and all that mystique, it doesn't bother him. He could perform under that pressure. Now we're going to get to see the best version of Michael Chandler in this title fight. And this is the guy that the UFC wants to win, right? They want Michael Chandler to be the champion, which is crazy to say because he came from Bellator, but he has the it factor. You know what I mean? He can speak well. He's a father. He adopted a kid. There's great stories around him. Like he's almost like perfect for the role as the face of a promotion, and he could go on TV shows across the nation, speak, professionally, well spoken, you know what I mean? Like he could fight. He's very violent, right? He's had some incredible fights, and I think like we're gonna get like maybe a bunch more in the UFC, especially him as champion. And we got a bunch of fights for him. You got Gaethje, you got Poirier, you got maybe Connor. There's some big fights there if he can win the title.
Yeah, my thoughts exactly. Other questions here quickly. Ramsey's asking about gloves. I think we talked about the gloves last time, didn't we? Oh, we didn't actually do it, did we? We didn't do a show. Yeah, do you want to see UFC change the gloves after that eye poke from Leon?
They should change the gloves, but they're never going to change the gloves because the gloves that they need to have, the UFC won't be able to buy the rights to those gloves, so they're not going to change it.
Actually, I've got a question. I think today was the last time we're ever going to see the fighters wearing Reebok. So what do we think the Venom outfit is going to look like in 2 weeks?
They showed them. They showed a glimpse of them. Yeah.
Did they? Well, today?
Yeah. Like Sterling did on his stories, like his Instagram stories.
Not on the UFC broadcast today.
Yeah. No. They didn't show it on the broadcast, but he showed them on the story. So I guess they're taking photos for the Venom deal. But they look like similar to what
was
Reebok.
Sterling's outfit made out of paper?
No, it was made out of. No, why would it be made out of? Oh, okay. I see what you're trying to say. This guy trying to throw in quick jabs. All right, so yeah, but the Venom thing is very interesting. Is like how are they going to do it? Is the Venom going to be big on the logo? Is going to be big? It's going to be small. Is the UFC logo going to be much bigger? I'm very interested to see what happens.
I wish they'd give every athlete one space on their shorts, one space on a t-shirt for advertising, like they do in football. Everyone will still look the same. It gives them a bit of chance to make a bit of extra money. It will look neat still, and it brings each outfit it brings everyone to have their own unique outfit, because at the moment you get to choose the colours and especially if you're a girl, the different options. But if you've got your own advertisement on there, then it makes your own kit even more unique for you, like a football kit. I wish they'd go down that route.
I wish they would just plaster I wish they would just they should give like one spot in the on the bottom front, maybe one spot on the top back, and then one spot on the shorts, like on the butt, and then one on the corner left corner or something like that in the front, because but the UFC won't do that because their deal is with Venom, and Venom is gonna come with the contract saying that these fighters cannot have any other sponsors except for us, because we are the sponsor. We want all the advertisement. We don't want other advertisements to overshadow our advertisement for Venom. And
but it's different though, isn't it? It's like in football or soccer, as the old Yankees would say. Obviously, their football kit's made by Adidas or Nike. Every team has their own brand, but then they also have their own sponsors. It's different.
Yeah,
I agree with you though. The UFC won't do it, but it's a shame because they could do it and still tick all the boxes and just give the fighters more cash coming in.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. There's no cash.
This one, I guess you can do, John. Maybe we should wrap up eventually.
Yeah. This one should be the last one.
I got to do some work.
All right.
Some actual work.
What's this one? It says, do you think the new Bellator rankings will let people follow Bellator more? I have no idea. I'm part of the rankings. I'm on the panel, and I've turned in my initial rankings. I think they should be out the week before their first show in April, which is maybe next week, I believe. And yeah, and I don't know. I don't know if they're gonna make. Does rankings allow people to follow UFC better? I don't even think people even care about the rankings in the UFC. The rankings is just something that they implement to kind of figure out like who's in the top 10 or top 15 and who we can match up with who, and kind of gives you a guideline of like what fighters should fight which fighters. But like the UFC does, they don't follow that all the time. And I'm pretty sure any other promotion that has rankings, even one championship, they don't follow it all the time. And you see movement in the rankings that is kind of fishy in some promotions. With Bellator, everything is third party. So Bellator, the promotion, doesn't actually do anything with the rankings. It's Combat Registry. They have a separate program. So I don't actually deal with anybody from Bellator. I talk with the guys from Combat Registry. So, I'm gonna try to be as transparent, and I think Bellator wants that too. And they're gonna try something new because they've seen all the mistakes being made in the the rankings and other promotions. So they're trying to make it to where they don't make the same mistakes. But you're not gonna get 100% proof system. It just never happens that way. So there is going to be criticism. I'm probably going to take some criticism if there is criticism to take, but I don't care. I'm just going to do it and experience it.
Your picks were terrible, John.
Did it come out?
Joking.
Because I don't know if they're putting out all my picks, or not my picks, my rankings, or they're just giving the cumulative rankings. I have no idea. So
yeah, they'll just do the one ranking system, won't they? And just
and they're gonna try to use it and implement it right as best as possible. So we'll see.
I don't think anyone's going to start following Bellator just because they've got ranking systems now. I think that'd be a bit crazy, but it's another positive to the promotion. You want promotions to have rankings so things are more transparent. It's more fun. Some fans probably love waking up on a Monday, Tuesday when the new UFC rankings come out to see if their favorite fighters moved up after winning.
All right, does that do it? Yeah, Truth Messenger is pretty angry at me in the chat. Guy in yellow shirt shuts it down because he's got work to do.
Shuts down.
Truth Messenger. I've got to write some articles now for SCMP.
Yes.
I'm not just a podcaster for SCMP. I also write for them and report for them, and got to go cover what Dana White said and John Jones and everyone. So
yeah, and also I got two interviews I got to do tonight for SCMP, and those will be out next week sometime. But yeah, we gotta go, man. Sometimes we gotta shut it down. Everybody that's watching right now, please hit that subscribe button. Follow us. We got a bunch of interviews coming. We got like Nick. He's been working on the keys. We got lots of articles. Go read them. Just follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, SCMP MMA. Just search that. You can find us. And, we'll try to do another podcast in the next couple of days. I have my podcast on Wednesday night, at 9 p.m. Eastern. If you want to check that out, check it out. I have other journalists come on from other outlets, and we'll chat it up just like we do here and get you guys involved. Thank you so much for subscribing, Ramses.
Yes, and Leon also, where can everyone find your work? Leon's not actually working for SCMP, but he's got his own website, Asian Persuasion MMA, apmma.net.
He's a rogue.
Yeah, and you can get him on that social handle there. They're all over Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, you name it, YouTube. Leon also has great interviews. He's a very interesting man as well. As we sometimes we forget, and we're reminded each week. When will we be back? I'm actually taking a week off now, so because there's no UFC show, I'm taking the opportunity to have a break / holiday.
Yeah, he won't be wearing. Nick won't be wearing underwear for a week.
Yeah, like Leon. Yeah, I might still jump on a podcast though with John, maybe on tomorrow or Tuesday or something like that. We'll figure it out. We'll let you know. You should sign up for the notifications and stuff. You should get a buzz whenever we organize a show. You'll get a message telling you when it's going to start and all that. Yeah, some new people here. Thank you for subscribing and liking. Ethan, Ramses, all these people. And yeah, we've had a blast. Good fun show today. But yeah, it's time to do some writing, guys. Anyway, thank you, John. Thank you, Leon, and see you
Thank you.
again next time.
Smoochie.